What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Most Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Man, you already know what it is. Another day, another beautiful day, another time that we get to come up here and talk shop, talk ball. We got draft prospects we got to talk about. We got Pittsburgh Steelers news we got to talk about. We also had some Pens action this weekend, man. I mean, we got a good amount of things that we're gonna get to discuss today. So you know, I'm excited, man.
What do we want to start off with?
Man, I want to start Pens, but funny story before we start, man.
Okay.
So over the weekend, this was Sunday morning, I want to say. So I'm coming downstairs, I get my workout in, right? My little man comes down with me. So NFL, I just had it on NFL Network, and they're playing the Cowboys Steelers game from 2016. So in the midst of me watching,
the Zeke game.
Yeah, it's the Zeke game, but this is also the
Big
Ben, the fake spike, man. So I'm going through all those emotions, right? I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it because obviously it's a game that I played in. But then I had this cool dad moment, man. My son came downstairs. He's like, "Yo, Dad, that looked like you." It's the 5'5". You see me running around. I'm like, "You know what, son? That is me." And I got the chance to show him a couple of plays, and he's just watching. He's like, "Dad, you look cool. Like, Dad, that's the jerk. That's that." I'm like, yes, son. I'm not a complete failure at life. I did something right. My son got to see me on the big TV. And then I just went through the emotions of like enjoying this game. I forgot how back and forth it was. Both of the teams I felt like played similar in terms of the offenses were able to do some special things. The defenses for both of them at the time were more opportunistic than consistently good.
Sure.
It was like we made plays, but we didn't have consistent, just like how the defense is a year ago, right? Where they would just stop in and it didn't matter what the situation was. We weren't like that. But just watching, I'm just like, oh, I forgot that happened. Oh, we did make that play. Oh, yeah, we did. Oh, man. And then obviously the ending. Yeah, I didn't need to remember that part. I could have just stopped it, but my son had me gassed up at the time. He's like, "Yeah, Dad, y'all about to win." I'm like, "Yeah, we are." Ben just scored. Like, "Yeah, I told you, we good. We got this." And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot. No, it's like Avengers. They all die. You don't want to see this." Yeah.
Did you watch it? That was on TNT this weekend.
I watched that as well. Yeah. So it was a rough time. You know, I watched my UFC fights. I got all the things I needed. But yeah, that part of just knowing how the ending was gonna go, and it's like, wow, why do this to yourself? In both scenarios, I couldn't help it. And my son, he's a glutton for punishment, just like me. So he's like, "Yeah, Dad, let's watch them both." I'm like, "Thanks." Now we're both in here just depressed.
We've done some bad onside kicks. Was that one of them? Was that when we tried to do the behind the
that was
leg?
Baltimore. That was Baltimore
Okay.
with Boz, the reverse back kick. Field goal or onside there.
What did we do on this one? We just didn't get it.
No,
but then Zeke just ran it down our throats.
So this one, what happened? We scored. No, excuse me. I'm gonna say kick the field goal, and then we score. Right. So no. Yeah, because they had the lead, and then that's when Ben gives the fake spike, scores. Then they come down and they got that last touchdown, and it was like 5 seconds left on the clock. So even though we got the ball back, then it was like I think we threw a crossing route to AB, and then the last play of the game, I think we might have got a couple yards on it, but it was nothing crazy. But it was more so just when they scored at the end with that Zeke.
Because if we got a stop, I think we would have won.
Yeah,
right?
We would have absolutely. Yeah, because we were up 1 going into that possession right there.
Yeah, and they just ran it down on us.
And we thought
they were in field goal range, kind of, right?
They didn't run it down. This is what happened. It was 2 15-yard penalties on that drive.
Really?
2 face mask penalties back to back. Yes, absolutely.
That got him in field goal territory.
Yeah, because they gave him 30 yards. So literally, it was like 2nd and 7 or 2nd and 8. We get a stop, face mask on the tackle, 15 yards. Then we get another stop. It was like 3rd something, another 15-yard penalty. And then from there, now they're sitting right at that field goal fringe. They needed a field goal to win. But in that field goal fringe, that's when Zeke pops that last run. But literally, I forgot the 2 15-yard penalties.
Were they egregious? Or were
they happened. Okay. It was legit. But like one was Will Gay, right? He's tackling, he's like falling off of him, and his hand catches like the back of it and pulls. I think it was on Cole Beasley. And then the last one, Sean Davis, like it's like the big pile. Everybody's hitting him, and Sean is kind of like sliding off, and his hand just grazes the front, pulls it enough. But those were the 2 penalties that gave him the 30 yards to get him in that range. Because I couldn't remember how he got that like close enough to get that 30-yard run at the end. And I'm like, yo, what happened on this? But seeing that, I was like, now I remember. Those are the 2 penalties that happened. and put him in position.
Yeah, I didn't
man.
think it was penalties. I thought they
Yeah.
just kept handing it off to
No,
Zeke.
it was
But Zeke did have a good game.
no, they were showing him and L. Bell stats. They were like identical, bro. It
Yeah.
was like 20 touches, 170, 160 yards, 2 total touchdowns. They both had a receiving touchdown because he had that screen early in the game that he took to the house. Pissed me off because this was like one of my first plays in, and I thought I had the best rush. And you know how it is, like when you're about to come in, I'm like, all right, I didn't watch this guy on tape. Like, it's my time. I'm ready to go.
You're fresh, too.
And I'm fresh. So I'm like, I got that get off. I'm like, yo, we cooking. I'm right up on Dak. I'm like, all right, here we go. Sack time. Let's get it popping. He dumps off. I'm like, all right. So some pressure. I'll take that. And I'm like, oh, no, he's still running. It was a screen. God, what are we doing? 70 yards later. And we're just like, that's when I remember that following day, we come in there for Monday meetings. I'm just like, yo, what'd you say you run, Shay? What'd you say you run, Mike Mitch? What'd you say you run, Sean Davis? Because this man Zeke outran all of y'all. We was talking big trash, man. But obviously that was the game that we needed to lose because then from there we went on to the AFC Championship game. We didn't lose again until then.
Yeah, you guys literally, What was it, you 4-6 at the time?
No,
or 4-5?
That was the 4-5. It
Yeah.
knocked us under 500, and that was our 4th loss in a row. And from there, literally, didn't lose again until the AFC Championship game, man.
I remember that too because I went into the office that next morning. Everyone's talking shit on the Steelers and stuff, saying, "Oh man, I can't believe you believe in these bums."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, honestly, from that game, you could tell we're a better team than what our record was.
Oh, without a doubt, man.
Didn't Dallas get up early and then we just came back throughout the game? That's what it was.
And they were 7-1 going into that game. We were 4-4 going into it.
Yeah. So what I did was I made a bet with one of my coworkers. I said, I guarantee you we win the AFC North. We make the play. I can't remember if it was the division or the playoffs. But that's what happened. We just went on this crazy run.
Yeah, we ran the table, man, and just ran into the bus, saw that ultimately won it all. So, but either way, man, it was a good little fun little weekend for me, man.
Yeah.
It was fun to go down that memory lane.
Yeah.
And like I said, to have my little man with me, I'm just like, hey, I feel like I did something right.
So
man.
he never seen you before?
So he has, but now that I've been retired, it's like he'll remember, like if I throw in a highlight clip, oh yeah, all right, I seen this. But he doesn't like remember in terms of like going to the games and the atmosphere like that. Whereas like my middle girl and my oldest, she remembers it like it was yesterday because she got to endure Buffalo and here.
Yeah.
Whereas my middle girl, she didn't realize it until here. And little man, he was just born here. So yeah, he don't really see it
and
that.
He watches games with you now.
Yeah, but he remembers more Latrobe. If we take him to training camp, he'll remember all of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you think during training camp, they're always out there like every day. So yeah, he remembers that. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was a good time though, man. It was, like I said, it was good little vibe right there. And like you said, we also had the Pens, man. They took care of business this week, man. Beat the Boston Bruins, moved into first place in the Mass Mutual East Division, which was huge, man. That was their 4th straight win. 7 regular season games left. So this is the exciting part about them because we said with the condensed season, all the games matter, right? And this is another situation where, man, if they close this thing out the right way, they'll get this nice 1 seed in terms of coming out of their division. That can help them out a ton, man.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because we were really concerned at the beginning of the season.
Oh, without a doubt, yes.
They've really come on strong, especially with the injuries. I can't even say his name.
Get it out now. It's because you got that big Ben beard just all in your mouth right here, man.
Malkin. He's been out, but
yeah.
To get the 1 seed throughout this stretch, I know our schedule's been easier, but our schedule was harder early on. That's why we didn't have as good of a time early on. But everything's coming together. I think the goaltending's playing good. But I really liked yesterday's win because it was a defensive game. Jari's first shutout. We haven't seen that. We've seen some dominant performances by the offense, but then we also see a goal or two skirt in, and we're like, man, I just would like to put together a full clean game.
Just one normal game.
And especially against the Devils, they suck. I mean, we swept the series, but the one game we won 7-6.
They scored 6 goals in the 3rd period.
Yeah,
it was going crazy. I remember this. I turned the game off in the second because I was like, yo, it's over. Me and Wifey were just like, yo, it's done, man. Like we blew them out. It was was it 5-0? It was 5-0 or 5-1 or something like that.
6-0.
And at the beginning of it, so it was like, man, this game's done. And then we go on social media, we're like, oh, everybody's going crazy. I'm like, oh, God, what is this? Yeah, nuts, man.
So, that game, they won the second one 5-1, so that was more of a blowout. But the other one, they won 4-2. Honestly, that should have been 3-3 going into overtime because the Devils missed out on a really good opportunity right at the end of the game, and we got kind of like a lucky empty net. I don't know if you could say lucky because Crosby was the one shooting it. I'm kind of over that.
It's not lucky if it's Crosby.
I think that's how it is, dude. Just because I see some of these passes, and I'll make comments because I do those reactions. I'm like, oh man, this was lucky as hell. Like, there's no way Crosby meant to do that. They come back at me. They're like, dude, you're doubting Crosby.
Yeah, Crosby, he's gifted, man.
So yeah, that game should have been 3-3. But then just to get this win, I saw some stuff from the offense still that you're like, all right, this is how good the Penguins' offense is. This is how it always is. We just didn't get the 2 or 3 goals.
Right.
They had the opportunities, and then Boston, they had a few chances, but Jari stepped up. The defense stepped up. I saw some really good plays from them. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, to me, man, I like this win because it was a playoff style win.
Sure,
anytime you get these single, 1-zip, 2-1 type low scoring games, that's what playoff hockey is going to be. And the thing that I liked about Jari, even though this was his first shutout, I like the fact that this is 2 back-to-back dominant performances, 61 saves, or 61 saves in 2 games. And you just think about what he's been able to do in terms of both of those, and this is on the heels of that game where he was talking about against the Devils, where he gave up, the 6 goals right at the end of that thing. So to see him mentally bounce, I mean,
that was funny too. One of the goals, he was trying to score an empty net goal. You're like, come on, what are you doing, bro?
So to me, I'm just like, it's good to see that he's mentally, able to recover from that, because with these guys, a lot of times we say it's mental. So it was good to see that, but the defense as a whole, I thought, has been playing better, just in better positions. Not like how we saw early on, where it was the goalies having to just be crazy because our defense was so flawed. Right now, we're just playing really good hockey, getting healthy at the right time as well. It's going to be interesting to see, though, when Malkin comes back, where do you put him back, though, in terms of the lineups? Do you put him back on the top line, or do you put him on that second? Like, where do you want him at? Because right now, they're kind of hot.
I like Jeff Carter, dude.
I do too.
He's really good.
I do too. But the thing is, this is Malkin we're talking about. So do you go hot hand, or are you going off of what this guy has done and what he's meant for your organization? Because to me, that's the part that's getting a little dicey here, because they have a groove going right now. And do you really want to mess that groove up this close to the postseason?
That's a fair point. No. Now, whenever you say top line, because Crosby is top line, you mean the top 2 lines.
Top 2
Malkin on the second line, then you bump Carter down to the third.
And then obviously on the power play as well.
Man, that's a tough call.
It is.
Because you want Malkin on the second line when you need a playoff game and things are getting really tight. You're in the semifinals or whatever. Malkin on the second line. But I don't think it's the worst idea to ease him in maybe on that third line a little bit.
Well,
it's one of those things, though. It's like, it's just Malkin. I don't give a crap. Like, just put him on the second line.
But
Carter is playing good for us, though.
So you see the dilemma. It's like, do you go with the person that's hot, or do you go with the guy that's been there before, that's been proven, that we all have that emotional equity with, right? Because we've seen Malkin do this how many times? We know when he gets hot, what he can be. But like you said, man, and he's been gone for a while too. And that's my other concern. It's like, when is he going to come back?
We have less than 10 games, right?
We have 5 games left right
digits.
Now. Yes, 5 games left. So when I think of that, 7 games left. I said, 7 games left. So it's not a lot of games left for him to even get back going and get up to speed. So
like now would have been the perfect time for him to come back.
Right. I feel like if it's not within these next 2 games, like out of there, I'm just kind of like, that's 5 or 4 games. It's not a lot of time for me personally, but this is Malkin, and that's the part, right? I feel like if it's any other person, it's an easier decision. You just go with the guy that's hot. But because of who he is,
And I guess you're thinking maybe first round matchup will be a little easier, but I don't know.
No, not
I don't know how
year.
it's. Yeah, exactly.
This year, you're probably you might face this Boston team realistically.
Yeah,
like,
they're the 4 seed. You have the Islanders there at the 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know how it stacks up? Like, are we going to be playing the 1 seed playing like the 4 seed in one of these other divisions?
No, from my understanding, I thought first round of the playoffs, you're going to play within your division. So the 1 is going to play the right. So that's why it's like, if you're the 4, you're playing the Bruins. I mean, the Bruins will be playing us, and that's how it's going to be for the first round. Then after that, that's when it goes back into how they want to do the seeding of, all right, this division versus that division and stuff. But yeah, so that's why it's like even more intriguing. And that's the crazy part about the point system, because the Bruins are 7 points behind the Pens, right? And obviously the Pens are in first, but we don't feel like that's a gimme matchup.
No, not at all.
We feel like, that can go either way. I mean, it's going to be tough, and we're going to have to play our,
so
really good hockey.
So if we lose that game against the Bruins yesterday, we have 65 points. They would have 62.
Yeah, and then the Caps.
I mean, you're right. That's no gimme then.
Right.
Because it's 67-60 now, but yeah, it's a perfect point right there, man. I don't want to be messing around.
Not at all, man.
I don't consider that messing around, though, just putting Malkin on the top 2 line. Carter's talented, too. Like, you talk about, like, pedigree, whatever it is. Like, he's got a couple cups. he's always been. He's just older now. That's what it is.
Was he 36? Right.
It feels like he's getting this resurgence with the Penguins.
Well, you know that's what happens when you get around highly talented players, man. It boosts you up a little bit.
Sure. I don't know. I'm gonna defer to Malkin. I would just put him in, and then maybe one game it's not looking too good, then you just make the switch. If it's game 2 in the series or game 3.
Like I said, part of me
that might motivate.
I definitely agree, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, dang, I do like the hot. I like this hotness, but it's Malkin, and that's where I'm still just torn. But this is why we don't get paid to make those decisions. This is why Coach Sullivan, I'm going to trust your judgment on this, but make sure you make a good decision. Pretty please.
What's his timeline? It's got to be soon. They've been talking about this for a couple weeks.
Right. I mean, I felt like a week ago they were telling me that, hey, man, it's day to day. And then the week before that, it's day to day. Do you still know exactly what the injury was, though?
I have no clue.
Exactly. And we talked about that. Remember, was this 4 weeks ago when it first came out? We was like,
it came after that hit.
Yeah, we were like, man, if we could just know, this could change a lot of how we view them. Now, granted, it worked out where they rose their play, but if we knew back then that he would be gone this long, I think our mentality would have been a little bit different in terms of the Penn's success. But they've been able to rise and ultimately pick up the slack in his absence. But as a whole, that thing is, I would like him back, though.
Either way, I think the Pens have been impressive over these past few months just to get to this 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
You could point out some flaws, but I think every team in the NHL, you're going to have some flaws. You're going to give up some good opportunities. We're in first place in this tough division, so hats off to the Penguins for sure.
Absolutely. And shout out to Sid the Kid, too, man. With his assist on the Jake Gensel goal at the third, that ultimately gave him his 16th season of having a point-per-game average. Puts him third on the list behind Wayne Gretzky, who did it for 19 seasons, and Gordie Howe, who did it for 17 seasons.
Damn.
So, big time right there for Sid, man. Big time tip of the cap to the captain, our captain, Sid the Kid.
That's a good gauge, too, because you see with some of those dudes like Gretzky, like Lemieux, Yager back in his prime.
And these Lemieux was, I think, 4th on the list.
These dudes are putting up like 200 points in a season and stuff, whereas now it's just a different era now. You're not really seeing that. I know McDavid's just been crazy. Like a couple of those top guys just put up crazy numbers and crazy stats, but not to the extent of Gretzky. So if you could get some type of metrics like that where Crosby's still in the top 3 as some type of point per game basis, and then he's in that category with Gretzky and that. Who'd you say was it? Gordie Howard?
Yeah, Gordie Howard. Okay. And like I said, Mario Lemieux is sitting at 4 on that list.
Okay, so that's just a good gauge though, because if you just look straight points for Crosby, he's not going to have the same amount that like Lemieux, Gretzky, and some of those dudes back in the day had. But a lot of people do consider him, top 3, 4, 5 all time.
Very true, man.
So that just points to it though.
Yeah, and it's good to see, like I said, another Penn, being in that conversation of all-time great status. I mean, we know what Mario Lemieux is, but just think about that, man. Like, that's a big-time accomplishment right there. So it's good to see that, man. 16 straight seasons. That is continued excellence, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why he's the only one that we like to talk when we get to talk Pens, because of who he is, man.
Wait, so what happens if he gets 0 points in the next 5 games?
Well, no, they already said he's good.
Okay.
Yeah, they said with that assist, because of how many games, because he already missed 1 game. So based on the amount of games that are going to be there, either way, he's going to be good now.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's what, because I thought the same. I'm like, well, the season's not over. What if he just stinks it up? And they were like, nah, based on how many games is left and the math on it, that's why they get paid what they get paid to do, the math numbers on it. And we just get paid to react to these numbers right here, baby. So, yeah.
It was a good stat.
It was. It definitely was, man. It's the least we could do, man.
For sure.
But now you ready to talk about some Steeler news?
Yeah.
I mean, not the best Steeler news, but we got to address it, man. And that person that we're talking about is right here, Mr. Justin Layne, man. Obviously had a little incident. That's a nice way to put it, right? Little incident with the law enforcement over the weekend where he ultimately was arrested. Said he was speeding, doing 89 and a 60. The firearm was on him, and he had marijuana with him as well, or at least that was in the initial report. But, I mean, it was crazy when you look at the details of it. They found out a lot of this because of he made a phone call in the back of the police car where he's basically incriminating himself and saying these things, man, I'm nervous. They might find this pistol. I don't have drugs, but I do have a blunt and things like that. So as a whole, rule of thumb right here, probably not the best to make that phone call in the back of the police car. We know you can incriminate yourself, and that's neither here nor there, but just understand that and know your rights too, man. Fifth Amendment, complete the fifth. You don't have to speak on it. But as it pertains to the Pittsburgh Steelers now, and how they probably should address it or how they will address it, I don't look at that as the end of the world. I personally don't think that this makes cornerback bigger of a priority than it was a week ago. Mm-hmm. I felt like when we talked about the cornerback position and we talked about my second mock draft, you saw me having 2 corners taken a little bit earlier. And that's more so just because they're unproven. Justin Layne, James Pierre, and obviously Antoine Brooks. It was more so the reaction of that. Even now, with this information coming out, it still, for me, doesn't change that because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're speeding. Okay, we've sped before.
Doing I do it all the time.
In a 60, it's
the highway.
Interstate. It's the highway.
Yeah.
We do that. And we're not justifying, it's not saying that it's okay, but just understanding the context of it. Everyone speeds. It happens. The firearm. Now, that's going to be the tricky part in terms of if he has a concealed carry's license or concealed carry permit and things like that. But it's still within your rights to own a firearm. That's not the problem. The problem is having the firearm in the car if he doesn't have a concealed carry permit, because now it gets a little tricky because it's a handgun and where he has it stashed at and things along that nature. And then in terms of the marijuana that was found, if it's just a blunt, as he referred to it, that's not a lot of THC. That's not a lot of drugs in terms of the scale. It's more so fine than criminal offense, which we're basically trying to get at. So when you first hear the initial report, does it sound bad? Sure. But when you actually look through the layers of it and think what really transpired, not what it is made out to be. And also, man, I'll be remiss, right? We talk about the police that handle situations bad, right? We talk about the police that wrongfully, assault black people and things like that. This is a scenario where the police officer actually did a good thing. And we definitely want to tip our cap to him, because hearing that, you actually able to make a phone call in the back of a police car and everything was fine, we know just with the current climate that that's not always something that you could take for granted. So the fact that that scenario played out the way it did, and that even if he did have a firearm, where we hear about other people not having firearms and how that's went, the fact that you had a firearm, the fact that you had drugs, the fact that you were speeding, and all it is you just got arrested and we're just talking about it now, that's a good situation for everybody involved. And I'm with that. That's what we want. That's consistent justice right there. So, like I said, I'm not going to just get over here and we only bash the bad ones. No, we got to highlight the good police officers as well. And this is a scenario where you get that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, dude. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. Yeah. And initially I was like, now what are they going to do about cornerback? Mm-hmm. I don't think they should cut him at all. So it goes back to the initial analysis of what the Steelers should do at cornerback position. Should they draft him early or not? I think it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think they should cut him. So then therefore I don't think we should address cornerback in the first 3 rounds at all. When you break it down, this just really isn't that big of a deal.
I mean, because literally the first report says speeding, guns, drug, Justin Layne arrested. I'm like, whoa, what the heck? It makes it sound like this high speed drug bust chase shootout, and then you look at the details and I'm like, it's not even that. It was this. Like, okay, I can live with that. Now, we're not saying that he should get off completely. Obviously, from a justice standpoint, if he has to pay fines, if there's other, discipline that needs to be sent out to him, well, we're all for that as well. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not as bad as it sounds. That's all we're doing.
There was like a suspended license too, or like expired license involved.
Absolutely.
With it. But yeah, whenever you add those 3 or 4 elements, it's like, bro, Steelers shouldn't cut him over this, in my opinion. That's what it really comes down to.
I feel like,
I think that's the question now. Like, what are the Steelers going to be doing? I don't think they should cut him at all.
Because to me, he's still a good enough player, and he's still an intriguing enough prospect that you want to at least keep him on for another year. And based on the draft pedigree as well, we talk about what they used to get him, and based on the breakdowns that I've done on him, James Pierre and Antoine Brooks, he is by far the most athletic. It's not even close. I mean, if he could mentally, this is the thing, if you could take James Pierre's mental and put it in Justin Layne's body, you would have a beast corner. Because Justin has every intangible that you want from an athletic ability standpoint. Tall, rangy, fast, hips, all of that. But up here, play in and play out is not there consistently yet. Whereas James Pierre, he's lacking athletically compared to Justin Layne and some of these other premier corners. But mentally, his understanding of the game, his understanding
like he's a step ahead.
Right. And that's the reason why James Pierre, to me, has the front seat in this competition, just because you can just see his natural feel, his confidence, and understanding, big understanding of coverage concepts and defending at the point of attack. When the ball is in play, what are you going to do? What's your attack plan? He has a natural feel for that, whereas Justin, you can see he's still learning that at the NFL level. But to me, he's still so intriguing athletically that I just feel like I need another year to see this. Because we knew he was going to be a development piece. We knew he was more project piece than proven commodity coming out. But now it's like, this is the year where you're really going to see if he's a bust or if he's going to be the person that we think he can be.
Yeah. And you got to assume, too, with all this, he's probably not going to do this again.
You would hope.
Yeah.
I mean, you would hope. The only reason I say I don't go all the way there is because during the time frame when I played, we did have players on the team who did get in trouble, and it's like, all right, you're not going to have that issue again. It might be something else, but we saw it was a reoccurring thing, and it was the same thing, the same person. And even though the offense in the grand scheme wasn't significant,
same thing, yeah.
But it's just like, all right, it's continuing to happen. We know the rules, even though the rule might suck. It's still the rule, and we still have to abide by it. So you might get the first pass, but then after that, it's like, we can't keep continuing these mistakes. So with Justin, I hope that he doesn't continue, but just from personal experience with some of these guys, like, I'm not willing to just give him the benefit that, oh yeah, it's going to be a one-time thing. It's not going to happen again.
Well, at least the benefit of the doubt of not cutting him. Right. You said, first pass. This is the first time anything like this has come up with Justin Layne. And we talk about it in the whole grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. All these elements added up. It's like, dude, I mean, I don't know. You could see how all this just happened.
Very true.
And, it's whatever. I don't think the Steelers should cut him over it. Yeah. So
I'm glad just give it, right there, man.
Just give him another chance. And, we'll see what happens. He's got the upside. I don't think we have to put our team in detriment over this.
Yeah, and matter of fact, for the people in the chat, what do y'all think, man, in terms of the Steelers, what they should do with Justin Layne? Do you think that he should get another opportunity? Or do you feel that this, offseason incident outweighs his potential and his productivity, which we know in Pittsburgh, that's how they operate. They say, hey, if your play is above the distraction, you stay. If your play is below the distraction, well, now we might be releasing you if the circumstances make sense. So with that being said, like I said in the chat, just let us know, man. If you think that the Steelers should keep him, let us know. If you think that he should get cut, let us know that as well. Let's see. Because we already had some people already talking about it, man.
Yeah, what are people saying?
All right, so a lot of Layne is a bust. I'm hearing a lot of that right now.
It has nothing to do with
just nothing even to do with the arrest. Okay. They were saying, this guy, Quincy says, unfortunately, he may be another cornerback bust. Then I do like this perspective right here from CB_HU23. How is this an incident? At least AB was doing 120 in a 911 GT3, like, man, and AB was doing it on a residential street also, man, coming down McKnight Road. Yeah. But that was the person that I thought of. The only reason I said this, the only reason I left it as different was because of the added things with Justin. With AB, it was solely the speeding. With Justin, you have the firearm, you have the marijuana in the car, you have the suspended license. So those are the things that make it just a little bit different, along with the fact that he's actually the one confessing to it on the phone in the car. That's another thing. Whereas with AB, he could have had whatever in that car, but we don't know because he never said anything. It was just the speeding element of it. So that's the reason why this is just a little bit different than the AB scenario. Even though I think AB's was more dangerous because of the location and how fast he was going. I just feel like with Justin, because of the added elements, the added variables, that's what makes it more significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Scott says we should cut ways with Justin Layne.
I don't get why though.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Yeah,
unless they think this incident was so egregious. Because I don't
feel like it was egregious.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. And we wouldn't have cut him normally.
Like why would we put our team in detriment like that?
Yeah.
If he does have this upside, he was a former third round pick. Here.
So Vikesh says keep Justin Layne. Drafting a quarterback is obviously a crapshoot and an unknown, along with the fact that the Steelers' track record as it pertains to drafting corners isn't the best either. So
definitely
that kind of plays into this thing. Let's see. Juicebox 32. Shout out to you, Juicebox. I like your name. First time offense, give him a break this one time. I'm a big believer in that as well, man. In terms of, now we can have our thoughts of if we think it will happen again or not, but at the end of the day, we do allow the guy, or should at least allow the person to show that, hey, it was a one-time thing, because this was his first offense. I don't think we've heard of anything from him when he was at Michigan State collegially. I haven't heard anything from him professionally outside of this event, outside of this incident either.
Yeah, we interviewed him too.
Yeah, and he was a good guy.
Yeah, he seemed like a good dude.
Guy. Yeah, genuinely, sure, man. So, yeah, and definitely check out that interview too, man. If y'all want to check his character out, just, right here on the channel.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't hurt. All right, let's see what else people are saying, man. Cut him. See, a lot of cut him.
Really?
A lot of.
I don't understand that at all. Now, hold on. Let's do this then. Some of those top. Where would we be thinking? We'd be like the Asante Samuel Jr. range.
Jason
Robinson, Newsome, like kind of those cornerbacks. If we were gonna draft one, like late first, second, third, something like that, how would you compare Justin Layne to those dudes? Like, how much more confident would you be in maybe some of these rookies versus Justin Layne, or vice versa?
If it's Greg Newsome, right, the kid out of Northwestern, I like him a lot. I personally, if I was gonna go with either one, I would go with Greg, just because I haven't seen him look lost mentally. Whereas with Justin, at the NFL level, even though he has nice plays, he has some really bad plays where he just looks mentally like he's thinking too much. Never athletically overwhelmed, just mentally you're thinking way too much. And it makes him do just erratic things, or puts him in positions where he's putting way more stress on his body athletically to recover, when if his eyes would have been right and he would have just aligned, 3 yards off, 1 yard outside, it would have been way easier of a situation for him. So that's the reason why for me, I'm like, if it's Greg Newsome, yeah. Asante Samuel Jr., probably not, just because he's a smaller corner. And for me, I like size on my perimeter. I want bigger body corners. Tyson Campbell, I think those probably are very comparable. And if that's the case, I probably would go Tyson just for the sake of the newness of it, because at least I've seen multiple years now with Justin. And it's like, if I'm not drafting a guy early, well then, yeah, based on what we have on the roster, he absolutely deserves a shot. But if I'm picking a Tyson Campbell, and I think these two guys are similar, I'm going to go with Tyson because I don't have the bad plays in my mind. Like, it's certain plays from Justin I'm never going to be able to forget. Like, it's one of them things. And with everybody you watch, with everyone you watch, you'll have that case where it's like certain plays, no matter how many great things this guy has done, you're just like, I remember that throw. Like,
scarred.
Everyone brings up, think about how many people will bring up Ben's throwing the interception against Denver to the D lineman. Out of all the good that he did in that game, we remember that play though. And it's just like, you're never going to forget that. Or Fitzgerald Toussaint, right? You're never going to forget the fumble in Denver, right?
I will never forget
but
that.
You see, like, the energy, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of everything else he did well in that game, regardless of everything else he did well in multiple games leading up into that, because of that, you're always going to remember that. It doesn't matter if he goes on and wins a Super Bowl MVP 2 years from now, right? You're always going to remember that play. And with Justin, it's certain plays for me, I'm just like, I can't unsee that.
He'd have to ball out there.
Yes, but I just can't unsee it.
It'd still be in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I would never be able to unsee it. It's just one of them things, man.
Dude, you sound appalled right now from some of this film.
No, because this is the thing. When you watch a lot of the tape, that's the difference between like watching tape versus like watching the highlights. The highlights only show the positive plays, only show the good plays. And, if you're a good player, you should have at least a minute to 2 minutes of just high quality plays. But then when you start to dig deep into some of these guys and you're like, let me just watch him in a game, not a highlight, just turn this game. I want to see him play in and play out. That's when some of that pops up. So like for Justin, yeah, if you wanted me to make a 10-play highlight clip right now, I could do that. But I could also show like a 20-play highlight clip of the not so good, and that's going to have you
10
like
10 and 10.
You know what I mean? And then you'll just be seeing like, well, how do you want to spin this? So that's why when I talk on Justin, part of me, I'm intrigued. Part of me, I'm excited. Part of me, I think he can do these things. But then the other side, because I've seen so much of him on tape, I'm just like, I can see where this could potentially be a lost cause, where he's going to be a great athlete, but he's going to be more so like the kid that we got from Cleveland. Remember, he was a
first round pick.
Was a top 5? Was he top 5, top 10?
Gilbert.
Pick? Yeah, Justin Gilbert. And great athlete. Reminds me on tape athletically of Justin Layne when I watch him. I'm just like, great athlete, size, hips, can run fast. Remember, I was here when Justin came, and we were like, oh, this is great. Can upgrade the cornerback position, and we're just like, great athlete, doesn't understand ball skills, doesn't understand combat catch, doesn't understand the defense as a whole, and is putting him in so many bad positions. And at this level, it's already tight enough. I'm not going to give you a head start when we already, are equal in speed, or you might be a little faster than me. I can't give you a head start. But with some of these guys, these younger corners, just them not being aligned right, or not understanding where their help is and things like that, it puts them at a competitive disadvantage. And some guys will catch on, but a lot of guys, they don't. A lot of guys, it's like, man, they never catch up to it. And then they just, become draft busts and they wash out the league.
That's so interesting because whenever you're doing this draft process and analyzing college football players, that part of the game, that's probably so hard to get.
It is. Just absolutely. Yeah.
So you don't know what you're getting. Because James Pierre, undrafted, but now you're telling me he's got the inside lane over Justin Layne.
But this is the thing, right? There, but if you are the scout, it's a lot easier to hear positive about Justin Layne, who's playing at Michigan State, constantly playing against Michigan, playing against Ohio State. So if I'm going to scout Ohio State and this guy's making plays, well, I don't have to look for him. He's right here. So now I can scout him, and he looked really good in college. So you're going to see a lot more of the good plays, even though you're like, all right, maybe this is an issue, but is it more so because his defense as a whole wasn't as good? And that's why he's getting put in this position right here. So that's the intrigue part. Whereas James Pierre, if you're not, going crazy at your level that you're playing at, no one's really going to notice you. Like, and that's always my knock as a 1AA guy compared to a 1A guy. It's like, you can be average at the 1A level and still get noticed, still get drafted. You have to be dominant at the 1AA level to even get in consideration up there. How many times have we seen, oh, this is the backup linebacker, this is the backup wide receiver, this is the backup this guy.
You can talk yourself into it.
Right. Whereas over here, it's like, oh, this was the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. This is the equivalent of the Biletnikoff. This is the equivalent of the Legursky right here. And you're like, dang.
He used up all of his good plays in college.
It's like, well, I don't know, man. Or maybe it's the competition, right? It might be the competition, right? Maybe that was it.
The backup for like Georgia or something like that. Oh wait, I still think he's got untapped potential. He wasn't used right.
Nah, he was. They were so low. Look who he was playing behind. So that's a part of it. So that's why a guy like James Pierre can go undrafted, but then get here and it's like mentally he is light years ahead of this guy. Whereas this guy got drafted higher because he played and just had more exposure. That's sometimes what it comes down to. It was plenty of guys when I got to Buffalo, and it was like, man, even though I may not be as athletic, or I might not have played at this school, it's like, I'm way smarter than this guy. Like, this dude doesn't know anything right here. Whereas, like, I know 6 technique, 7 technique, 9 technique, 5, 4, 3, 3 out, 4 out. Like, I know I can draw the whole defense up like day one. But it's certain players that they just don't. They've never had to understand. They've never had to learn it because they were just such great athletes. But at the NFL level, everybody's a great athlete. Everybody's good. Everybody was the best at their high school. Everybody was the best at their college. Everybody was All-American. It was like, oh, you're just a one-time All-American? Well, I was player of the year. You was only player of the year one time? I was player of the year 2 times. Like, that's the NFL level. So what do you do to separate yourself when everybody's that good? And that's where the mental comes in.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
Interesting stuff, dude.
Absolutely, man.
Either way, even talking about this, I think we still agree we shouldn't cut Justin Layne.
Yeah, I agree, man. Can't cut the load, man, yet. Let him take a little bit of time, man. Let him take. And like I said, if it was a hard drug, heroin, cocaine, pills, cool. All right, we can go crazy over it. But for marijuana, I've already told you. I personally feel that they should use the marijuana a lot more than the pain pills that they prescribe us as football players that destroy your body and make you addicts. I've seen it all. So that's why for me, like, that doesn't bother me, man.
No, for sure. I agree. Definitely. I'm trying to think anything else with this. Yeah, let's say Justin Layne doesn't live up to potential though next year. Then it's like
then you cut your ties. You good.
But it's based off the football, not on this.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think we're good.
Listen, I'm fine if they say in 2 weeks in training camp, yo, he sucks. Cut him.
Based off of football.
Cool with that. Don't cut him off of this though.
Yeah.
Because this is not that significant. along with the fact that you weren't going to cut him anyways based off of his play last year. So why would you cut him now all of a sudden if it wouldn't be related to that? So 100% I'm with you, man.
Okay, cool.
Yes, indeed. Oh, also, man, we got a quick update too. The draft is coming this Thursday, baby. This Thursday, first round of NFL draft starts, and yours truly, the homies, the broskies. We're going to be having a watch party right here on the channel, man. We'll be breaking down every pick that's coming in, and you're going to get your first live reaction to the Pittsburgh Steelers draft pick at pick 24. If they stay there, right? They could move. We'll find out. We'll find out. But either way, you're going to get all of that right here on the channel, man. So you definitely want to put that on your calendars, man. Like I said, you'll have the NFL draft up on your big TV, and that's fine. But make sure you got yours on the phone or the laptop, because we're going to be giving you that thing. You need that thing. Yes, indeed.
That's going to be sick, dude.
I'm
excited for that. Yeah,
I'm hyped.
I was pumped when you brought that up.
Yeah. And we need to do that, right? I mean, the people are going to want to hear our reactions. They're not going to want to have to wait 2 and 3 days.
Sure, because I'm an idiot too. I told you this. I scheduled a golf trip this weekend, not knowing this was the draft at all. But luckily, the golf trip starts on Friday, so I'm definitely going to be around for the first round on Thursday. But I don't know. Well, let me think though. The golf round on Friday and Saturday. Yeah. Man, we'll probably finish up around 6. The draft starts back up, second and third round on Friday, so I'll be around. Maybe I'll give a hot take or something on my iPhone or something like that.
Gotta give him something. I would say I wish I could do Friday. I have my other duties on Friday where we got to put the black and gold on.
Where are you gonna be? Maybe they want to check you out.
I'm on Still Nation Radio, doing the coverage on Friday for the second and third rounds. I'll be up there with Matt Williamson and Dale Lally, breaking down every pick that's going on that second round, and then also who we're going to be taking in that second and third round. Obviously, we have a lot of prospects. I'm excited about it. It's going to be a blast, man, but that'll be on Still Nation Radio. And obviously, if you check Steelers.com, they'll have a lot more information on that. But yeah, man, it's going to be a good little weekend. This is my first, like where I get to cover the draft coverage. Like, I've hosted events for the draft. That was, like, my thing, where it's like, all right, I'm going to get on the stage, rock the mic. But this is like, I get to actually, we're going to talk. Talk prospects. I feel like Mel Kiper and Todd McShay over here, like this back in 2010 or something, you know?
Yeah, what did we do last year? We were because remember, I think we were just surprised, honestly, they were doing the draft.
We were surprised they were doing the draft because of COVID. And that was when they did the whole virtual. So the talk of it was like Belichick and his dog, I think it was.
Yeah.
McVay, where he was like in this like bachelor pad vibe thing going on. So that became the talk. But yeah, we didn't really focus on it because it was just the heart of the pandemic. Like, it was still fresh then.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
It was super fresh, bro.
I was just happy to get the draft.
Yeah, so I think that was different. And then the year before that,
we weren't even together before at the draft. Yeah, we started.
Yeah, we started after the season.
No, we did. We were doing your Instagram videos though. Yeah,
because we were just solely Instagram stories. Yeah,
we drafted Devin Bush. I remember that now.
Because I had to go to Buffalo. I remember I went to Buffalo for the first round, hosted that event. And then came down here for when we did the big Heinz Field Fest thing with the 4 through 7, those picks or whatever. So yeah, man, it was a fun weekend. It was busy.
That. Oh, yeah, that was cool.
I did have to drive. Oh yeah, I do remember that now. That was fun. That was a blast. That was a good little time.
Yeah, it was.
So now
those were the beginnings.
Yeah, so now we're doing this way this time, man, where we get to be analytical and do all that talk.
I might need to have some shit around my desk to throw or something like that. Although I can't do that to this room, dude. No. This room's too nice.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
I appreciate you.
I do it to my garage when I'm playing Madden and shit, dude. There's probably some dents on that door, but yeah, I can't do this to you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I appreciate your consideration. I'm just glad that we finally got to the point where you stopped beating up my shoe case over here. Usually, like, something drops, your foot, it's a water, it's a phone. I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure like my bottom row is gonna be cracked up.
I know. It's luckily good, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So it's all love, man. All right. So now that we are done with my man Justin Layne, we can get to some positivity here, man. And what we're gonna talk about next, these top safeties in this class, man. I think we both would agree that the rankings around the safeties were kind of
I don't feel good about my rankings at all.
Like, I feel like you could see anybody at the top of this list. It's not a, when we talk about running back, we're like, oh, these are the top 3. We talk receiver, oh, these are the top 3. Oh, quarterback, these are the top 3. With safety, man, I've seen people all over the place with this stuff. But either way,
I think the consensus number 1 is, man, I might botch this name.
Here it is.
Trevon Moehrig.
Moehrig, yeah.
Okay.
Out of TCU, yep.
A lot of people have him number 1.
Yeah.
But then I've seen some places They don't even have him in the top 5. Some people don't even have him in the top 10.
See, because I've seen the kid from Syracuse as number 1.
I've seen that too.
I've seen him as number 1, but then I've seen lists where he's like number 6 on the list. And they had the cat, oh my goodness, Richie Grant out of UCF. I've seen him apply. And then I've seen Elijah Moden. That's he said Elijah Moden out of Washington. I've seen him.
But then some people have him as like a nickel corner.
Yes, dude. I'm just like, all right, is he a nickel? Is he safety? Like, they just all over the place with this name, man.
Yeah, I just hit my point, dude, where I'm just looking at this. What are we doing? Just because you have all these people that are so-called experts and shit, and everyone has different lists. They're saying, I like this guy here, I like this guy here. So it just makes me laugh. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything, but because we like doing these rankings, but it's like, no one knows what they're talking about. Like, outside of like some of these dudes that played and like really know what they're talking about, but people that really like call themselves analysts are trying to, they're almost like me. They're almost like me watching this shit and trying to give these.
That's how you become an analyst, though. Think about it.
Dude, come on.
But the difference is this. With
you know what you're talking about.
But think about this. Think about your growth from 2 years ago to now. Even though both scenarios you're still an analyst, the difference is now you're a lot more familiar with the concepts. You're a lot more familiar with how to watch some of this stuff, right? Whereas back then, you would react to it. You're just analyzing it, but you didn't have like the education, the foundation to really like put facts with it or make it justifiable. Whereas now it's like, yo, you're grown, but that's not supposed to be.
Well, you're a big part of that.
What? Trust me, we push each other because for me, you give me fan perspective, how to think outside of just football. Because
use your imagination.
Yeah, because there's certain things where I'm just like, bro, we don't need to talk about this because as football players, like we know this. Like I'm not breaking this down. Like we're good. But for you, it's like, no, talk. I need to hear that. So that's why I'm like, oh, this is good because it helps me to understand. Like, all right, this is something to talk a little bit more about. So it's a good, like I said, a good dynamic.
You know what's gonna sound really dumb, but me picking up Madden again a little bit has helped. Because whenever you talk about cover 3 and shit, or like outside shading this way, inside, I experience it whenever I'm playing Madden. Listen, I get pissed off about certain things.
How many times have I told you I learned coverage my rookie year off of Madden? I'm going into the draft. I played DN my whole life. So I could tell you anything about run fits. I could tell you anything as it pertains to alignments. But when it talks about like the coverage, safeties, corners, I had never had an interest in it because I never needed to know it. And literally, I remember, man, I had my first meeting with the Patriots. And this guy went in here and he just killed me. I'm just like, bro, I don't know any of this stuff. And from then, I went back to the house, right back to my dorm room, and I hopped on Madden. And literally, I was like, okay, that's cover 3. All right, that's cover 4. Okay, that's cover 6. Because at the time, he was like, cover 6. I'm like, it ain't 6. We don't have 6 safeties out here, bro. It's not going to work. Like, how can I get to this? Because it was always like, oh, if it's cover 1 is 1 safety, cover 2 is 2 safeties. I'm like, oh, we're good. Cover 3, how does that work? Wait a minute. But yeah, I went on Madden, and that ultimately gave me that baseline. And then from there, obviously, got to the NFL playbook and dove into it a lot more. But those were my initial teachings. So trust me, that it's a start. But also the thing is, you have to actually like want to learn it. You have to actually want to research it. A lot of people, they just don't want to do that. It's more easy to just turn on a highlight tape, watch that, and be like, all right, this guy's the best thing ever. And you're like, bro, that was 2 minutes of great plays against VCU and against VMI and against whatever other school. It's like, nah. Let me see him in a game, and then you can really see a lot more of that. But you getting there, baby. You getting there.
Dude, you're exposing my secrets from my analysis.
Listen, you're walking before you crawl. If you was watching tape like I'm watching tape, you wouldn't be here. You'll be working for somebody's college, somebody's NFL as a scout. That's what they do. If you don't go the TV route and you watch film to that extent, you go the scout route. So either way, you would be in somebody's organization doing that. Because the amount of film I watch and my level of understanding for that, you would definitely be doing that. That's all I'm saying.
What?
Yeah. But you'll get there. You'll get there.
That's not my career path, though.
I don't personally think it is. No, I don't think that is.
I kind of like what we're doing here.
But as long as you pair it up with somebody like this, then you're good.
Exactly, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, I defer to you about a lot of this stuff.
And think about how many times I'm like, yo, hot topic. I'm asking you because I have zero. Because I'm just like, I ain't worried about that. I don't care about this. Yeah, but that's why you got him like, oh, you're right. This was actually really good. So that's why we got that teamwork right here, man.
Yeah, sure.
It's the duality of this show, man. That's why it's the Arthur most experience with Deke. You know what I mean? You got the Joe Rogan experience.
I think I told you. I didn't even want my name on it.
You did, and I was like, no, man. You getting stamped up here. Let's do it, man.
I know this is going way too much down memory lane, but I was like, I would never even tag me in my videos. I'm like, dude, don't even worry about me. Like, don't worry about me at all.
Man.
I just want to do this undercover.
Oh, bro, come on, man. We a team, man. one band, one sound.
Yeah. All right, we getting into these safeties.
Yes, indeed, man. So start out at number 5. So for me, man, I was a little bit torn here. I was thinking about Darius Washington out of TCU, and I was thinking about Hamza Nasrildeen. I think that's how you said Nasrildeen. I think I said that right. Out of Florida State. I was kind of going back and forth because they're both very good players, very productive players, but drastically different. Hamza is 6'4", 220, built more like a leaner Cam Chancellor, and definitely more of a strong safety, which is more of the box style, right? Playing the run and stuff like that. Whereas Darius Washington out of TCU, he's, one of the smallest guys that's going to be on this list, 5'8", 178. He's a true free safety, ball hawk, can fly. Love both of their games, but for me, I went with Darius Washington at number 5 because of how fast he plays, because of the ball skills. I just think that him as a free safety, he can, do whatever you need back there. But I also think that he has the versatility early on. Think about a team like Pittsburgh where we have Armstrong and Free. You can bump him down in the nickel and he can still play that. Think about how Sean Davis was his first year here. You can do that, but he'll be at a higher level because he's a lot faster and just looser in his hips and things like that. So that's ultimately why I like the Darius over Hamza. But Hamza, dude, he's a man back there. The biggest issue, though, when it comes to those bigger safeties like that, 6'4", 220, he's built more like a linebacker. How are their hips in space? That was the big thing with Cam Chancellor early on, and ultimately he dropped even more weight so that way he could be a little bit more flexible and looser, and he fit that scheme, that cover 3, what they were trying to run. If Hamza's in the right scheme, zone style scheme, where he's able to just cue the quarterback, play in space like that, I love it. If he's having to match up a lot, unless he's matching it with tight ends, I don't really love it as much because he's so big, it's going to be hard for him to be as shifty as he would need to be.
All right, so 5. You know who I was looking at too? A lot of people have been talking about him. He might, I don't know if I want to say honorable mention, but maybe I'd like to get your opinion. Mm-hmm. He actually might be on your list, so if he is, maybe you could just brush this off. Okay. But Jamar Johnson from Indiana.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are talking about him.
He's another guy. I've seen him rated super high, and I've seen him not rated in the top 5.
I know.
Not even the top 10.
A lot of people are pointing to him shutting down Justin Fields and him having this amazing game, but then and he's pretty good in coverage, but at the same time, he's not a good tackler, and if you're going to be a safety, that is kind of like an important part of the safety position. I know Minka's not like the best tackler of all time. He's more of a ball hawk, but apparently this dude's like egregious.
The problem at safety is this: that's their last line of defense. So if you have a bad tackling safety, instead of it being a 10-yard play, it's a 40-yard play, or instead of it being a 10-yard play, it's an 80-yard touchdown. That's the difference. That's why even though people gave Edmonds such crap for his point of contact or point of attack ball combat catching and stuff like that, like just he never plays the ball well enough. The reason why he was still starting, the reason why all of us football people were still high on him, he is an elite tackler. He is a open field tackle machine. That's why he had 100 plus tackles. Both of those years, right? Led the team in tackles his rookie year. He is a very consistent tackler. He might miss a couple tackles in the season. Like, that's what he specializes in. So that's why a lot of us were like, knowing that he's paired with Minkah, while we're higher on him, because we know that Minkah, even though Minkah is not the worst tackler, it's not something that he's eager to do. And it shows up on tape. It just is what it is. But when you have him with a guy like Edmonds, it works great because Edmonds struggles in coverage, and that's where Minkah excels. So they balance each other out. So that's why when you talk about Jamar, why I personally don't have him on my list is because of the tackling. I think
that's why I was intrigued in your opinion, though, because a lot of people, like you said, he could be like top 2 or 3, but then other people have him completely off the list because of the tackling. Right. But a lot of people are really high on his coverage skills.
Yeah. Like with Minkah, man, Minkah is more, Minkah's going to run at you, and he's going to hit you. Might not wrap you up, but he'll at least give you that for the majority of the time. With Jamar, like you said, sometimes it's kind of like, bro, can we talk about this? Like, did you mean to do that? You know what I mean? Because like with Minkah, sometimes I feel like it's just he doesn't have the desire. Not that he's trying to intentionally not do it. It's just kind of like, bro, I don't really want to do this. I'm going to hit you. I don't want to hit you, though. Whereas with Jamar, I'm just kind of like, did you even like have like anything, like nothing about that said that you want to bring him down to 0? I mean, you look at how many missed tackles he's had. It's just like, yo, this is nuts right here. And at the safety position, you just can't have that. That kills you. Can't do it at the safety position.
So my 5 then, I have Richie Grant from UCF.
Oh yeah, I like Richie, man.
experienced. He's good in run support. He's graded out well in coverage as well. So I think that's a good play at number 5, just an all-around safe pick. And I think he could be a successful safety in the NFL.
I definitely agree with that, man. It's funny you have him because actually I have him on my list as well. Now he's not next on my list, but he's
you got him high up.
He's on my list, man.
He's failing.
He's a really good player, man. Yeah. I like his game.
Yeah,
I like
for
it.
Sure.
So for me though, at number 4, I went with Elijah Molden, the safety out of Washington, safety nickel. I can see why they say he can play either one. He's 5'10", 190. So he has the size to go in there and play nickel. I think he has the hips for it. He's obviously a little bit bigger than Adarius, but he's smaller than Richie, right? In terms of his height, an inch or two shorter and a couple pounds less. But I just think that he's super productive around the line of scrimmage. Scrappy, feisty. I like his game. And he can cover. I just want to know, can he play free safety? Because he's built more like, you know what I'm saying, like he needs to be in the back end and just going sideline to sideline. I don't know if he is to that extent from a coverage standpoint, but I know in terms of if he would transition to a nickel, he can be your starting nickel right now. Like I think he's that good from that standpoint, man.
Okay, and that's very valuable in the NFL right now.
It is, because he's still going to play a ton. That's the thing. He's going to be out there a ton. But it's just like the safety position in terms of him playing free, it's a lot more demanding. It's a lot more, can you get to those spots? And that's the only thing, you know what I mean? Like at that level, can you do it consistently, play in and play out? Whereas at the nickel spot, for a fact, I think he's going to be able to do that with no issue.
Yeah, that's interesting with like him and then even Washington.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the critiques could be overlooked by like pointing to someone like Tyrann Mathieu being like, because I don't really care about like the size elements. Yeah. It's like, just give me this dude that knows how to ball.
Because with Tyrann, he's not really a safety. He's not really a nickel. He's a tweener.
What's he, like 5'8", 5'9",
yeah, but he's a tweener, right? In terms of he's more quicker than fast, right? He's not a blazer, a 4.2 or 4.3 guy, right? But he's fast enough and he's quick enough, but has great instincts. Excuse me. And that's how you can use him the similar way that you could use an Adarius Washington or Elijah Molden, in terms of, all right, you're going to have some times where he's, playing a true safety role. Then you're going to have some times where he's a nickel. You're going to blitz this guy a little bit. Those are some of the things that you can do with those two guys. I love that comparison to Tyrann Mathieu. That's definitely a guy that I was thinking of as well.
Well, yeah, because that's been some of the – so I have Adarius Washington at 4, and that's some of the knocks with him is his size. But you got other people saying that he was the best safety at TCU. Like he's just a straight up playmaker. He doesn't have the size that the other dude has. But yeah,
that's Trevon. He's like 6'2", 202.
He's got the prototypical size.
Absolutely.
But I like the dudes that can just go out there and make some plays and make things happen. So I'll point to Darius Washington at my 4th spot. What's he, 5'8", 180 pounds? Maybe you could bulk up a little bit. Yeah. But if he's got that natural talent, I'm going to put him at number 4 for me.
Okay, I like that, man. And, for me, man, being a quote-unquote undersized guy, I will always side with the playmaker versus a guy who just has the size. Because just because the guy has the size doesn't mean that he's going to be able to be as productive or live up to that height. Whereas if a guy can ball, the guy can ball. Mike Hilton, if you go off the measurables, he's undersized for even the smallest position out there. Another guy who we had as a guest on the show, Nikhil Roby-Coleman, he's another guy who's undersized for his position. But the thing is, they can ball. If you can ball, you can ball. And that's all that matters, man. If you're a playmaker, go out there and be a playmaker. I don't care, where you're doing it at. If you can do it, you can do it. And those guys that we're talking about right here, Darius, Elijah, and even Tyrann, who's done it at a high level now, at the NFL level for a good time.
When was he drafted in the 3rd round?
Yeah, but that was, why though? Remember? He got kicked out of LSU behind marijuana. That was like the big thing. And it was like character issues. And we're like, bro, it's marijuana. Like this.
You think that's what it was? I don't know if he would have went 1st round, though.
I don't think he would have went 1st round, but he would have went higher, though. That's what I'm saying. That became the big knock on him. That became the big character flaw. Think about how many people talked about his character. And it was solely because of that. And it's just like, dude, this is.
He was the best player in college football for that stretch. In that honey badger name. He was crazy, dude. He was so good.
Yeah. And he had that LSU was 7 on with the Nelly Band-Aid on his face. I'm like, man, I like this.
But I remember having similar sentiments at the time. I know I don't know, what was I, in college maybe at that point? But I just remember him seeing jump off the screen all the time.
Every time,
like, why wouldn't you want this dude on your defense? I don't care if he's undersized.
Return. He gets the ball, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I have similar sentiments right now with some of these guys.
Yeah, some guys can just ball, baby. All right, and I asked some of the people drop their top fives because right now we both just got our 4. Now we're about to start on our 3rd. So before we get there, we got to keep it consistent. So Joey, he has at number 5, Richard, I think it's LeConte. Make sure I say that right. Then at number 4, Divine Diablo. That's the corner out of, the safety out of Tech. I love his name, by the way. At number 3, Paris Ford, Hell to Pitt.
Well,
at number 2, at number 2, Jamar Johnson. Oh, okay, I see what we're doing here. And then number 1, we got Trevon Trayvon. Make sure I say it right. Trayvon Morig. Yeah. I like Paris 4 to 3. Hell to Pitt, man. We just we keep it like that.
I was thinking about it because they got Hamlin in the top 10 mix.
I did see that. I saw that. I was like,
Paris Ford in the mix. I'm like, can I just put one of these dudes at 5 just to do it? Because just of how ridiculous some of these rankings are. Like they have them projected 3 to 5 on the rounds, and then a lot of these dudes that are slated in that 4 or 5 rankings, they have them going in the 3rd and 5th round too. So I'm like, this wouldn't be that much of a jump if I just threw one of my pick guys up there.
Just throwing, man. Just Hell to Pitt, man.
I probably should have.
All right, winners. Winners has Elijah Molden at 5. He went with Andre Cisco, the safety out of Syracuse, at 4. Then he goes to Darius Washington at 3. Then he goes Trevon Morig at 2. And then at number 1, Richie Grant out of UCF.
Wow.
Now, Richie is a baller. He's a playmaker. He's definitely a playmaker, man.
I'll be interested where you got him.
He's a playmaker. All right. I think that's all the list that I can see right now because I'm getting like full draft lists as well. It's kind of crazy right now. Oh, here's another one. All right. And this is from Vikesh. He goes, I don't know if this is in order. This might be in order. Paris Ford out of Pitt, Hell to Pitt. Elijah Molden. Then he goes Trevon Morig. Then he goes Tyree Gillespie. Is it Gillespie?
Yeah,
Gillespie, right? So you said?
Yeah, from Mizzou.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Jamar Johnson at 1.
What?
Yeah, man. If Jamar can tackle, he'd be different. If he can tackle. But my man can't tackle.
That's funny, man.
But hold on, I was trying to think.
This is my point with the safety rankings.
You're right, though, because there's 3 that I read off, and all 3 have been different. Way different. Drastically different, man.
That's what I'm just like, what are we doing here?
I mean, and both of these guys included Paris Ford, and for me, Paris didn't make my list.
Yeah.
But you could, it's wacky right now, man. It is wacky. Let me see, is that? All right, so let's go to mine. All right, so my number 3, I went with Richie Grant, the safety out of UCF, 6 foot, 194. I definitely think, he's going to be a free safety at the NFL level, but he's super rangy. I love his ball skills, and he can blitz. That's the thing I liked about him.
Mm-hmm.
Even, like, most of the time with your frees, they're either, like, great at coverage, and you don't even think about using them as a blitzer. Usually, like, your strong safety is like, all right, we're going to blitz this guy.
Sure.
But with Richie, you can see he's a legit free safety, but he blitzes like Mike Hilton. I watch him blitz, I'm like, oh, he's going to get someone. Like, some guys, it's like, you watch, we're not going to use Steelers. Just watch some of these other teams when their safeties go to blitz, and it's like, he's just running his assignment. He's not really trying to hit the quarterback. He's not really trying to get there. He's more so, I'm just going to run up the field, and hopefully one of you guys come free. When Richie blitzes, Richie's like, yo, I'm trying to kill this quarterback. He looks like he's an edge guy out there. Like, that's what Mike Hill reminds me of. Mike is like, yo, I'm about to knock his head off. I don't know what they finna do. I'm finna get him. Like, that's the energy I like with Richie. That's what he plays with. But that's why I have him at 3, because I just love his ability, man, to play in the middle of the field or come down there in that line of scrimmage and really get after it, man. So, yeah.
Dude, so my number 3, we talked about him. I have Andre Cisco, dude.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing with him is just the ACL, because he might be higher up on this list. The production's crazy. Just everything he's done from a freshman on.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. We'll see. I think just as a straight up talent, if he could, with ACLs, dude, should we be as concerned? I mean, we've talked about this with Bud Dupree or just anyone with an ACL. It seems to just be like second nature that these dudes are going to be coming back.
It's more so just the timing of everything. Landon Dickerson is another one, right?
Yeah.
Just the timing of it. When does it happen? How far along are you in your recovery and things like that? But as a whole, ACLs, they are essentially like the new sprained ankles. It's like, all right, you got it, cool, recover, you'll be back. It's not like Achilles. Achilles is how we look at the old ACLs. Like, Achilles injuries, now you're like, whoa.
KD's been doing fine, but you're right. Like,
but no,
Achilles
he's
before
still been
that,
in and out of the lineup.
Sure.
You know
yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, man, like the Achilles, that's the boogeyman now. Whereas beforehand, it used to be the ACL. The ACL 10 years ago was the boogeyman. You did the ACL, it's like, oh God, am I going to come back from this? But now the way the technology is, the way they're able to just use, certain tissues to help it and still keep cartilage and stuff like that you need, like, they're short with it, man. The scars aren't even big anymore. Like, it's cool. I've been fortunate. I've never had to do mine, but I have plenty of friends, guys and girls, athletes, non-athletes, that have gone through these things. So I've seen the full gamut of it. But yeah, they're not scary anymore.
I'm looking at this stat, dude. More combined picks and pass breakups in his 3-year career than games played.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah, so I got him up there. I think he could be pretty good just if he could overcome this injury thing.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the same thing with Dickerson. If like that wasn't the issue,
these guys,
I think it'd be unquestioned.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And even with that, I mean, I'm still seeing Cisco mocked early in the second. It's not even like he's waiting a long time. So even with that injury and him falling, quote unquote, you can still just see how talented he is and why people are still very intrigued about him. I mean, Andre Cisco is a monster, bro. He could do it.
Yeah.
He could definitely do it, man. So for me, man, I have him actually next on my list. He's number 2.
Cool.
Yeah, man. 6 foot, 203, can play free or strong. I personally love him more as a strong safety than a free, but he can play whatever he wants, man. Rangy ball hawker, good tackler, playmaker. Like, he's always around the ball. He's a magnet to it. And when he gets the ball, he's not just getting the ball and going down. He's actually trying to make something shake, which I absolutely love. I like defenders that try to become offensive players when they get that rock in their hand. It's certain ones on this list. You're like, okay, he's a guy. Then you got other guys. You're kind of like, he ain't really trying to run that back. He's trying to get tackled. That's it. But Andre, I like his game a lot, man. And like you said, crazy productivity. The biggest thing is just the ACL and the timing of it, But we'll see with that. It still doesn't scare me all the way. It's just, I can't put you with, coming off ACL over a guy.
I'm interested in your one now because there's one.
It's a ton of diversity at this one spot now.
There's one of the top 2 that you're missing then in your whole top 5 list.
Yeah.
Okay. So should I just do my 2 and 1 then?
No, do your 2 and then I'll do my 1 and then you do your 1. Yeah.
All right.
You're trying to skip me? That's crazy, bro. Like, why are you doing that?
All right. My 2, dude. I'm gonna have Trevon Moehrig.
I thought you was going with Javon Holland.
I'm gonna put him 1, dude.
Oh,
I'm going the upside play with him at number 1.
And I like how we said, give you a 2, and I'm gonna talk my 2. And I'm gonna when you drop both of them right there. It's cool. It's cool. I like it.
Wait, who's your 1?
I went with Trevon.
Wait, so why don't you have Holland then?
For me, it's just I like his game. I do. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like I can make the same.
You just don't like a guy. Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook safety.
I hate when you say it like that, but it's just like, I'm not is it wrong that I'm not a fan?
No, not at all.
Is that okay? Or am I wrong for not being a fan?
No, not at all. Just because of, like I said, with
He's
these
a
safety
good
positions.
Player, but it's just, I personally...
You could like your safeties a certain way.
Like, I like what these guys on this list have. You know what I mean? Like, Holland, to me, I think he's a productive player. I like his game a lot. I don't know.
I like the upside with him. Not playing in last season.
Could that
but
be?
Maybe
that's what's hurting me. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I'm more prove versus like upside. Could that be? I don't know.
Maybe.
Because he's still a good player.
I was gonna say
he's still a good player.
He proved enough that he is still by most accounts in the top like 3 or 4 amongst these safeties in his first 2 seasons. Versatile, going from slot,
very true,
back to safety a little bit,
which I do like a lot.
Yeah. So I got him number 1.
But it's funny you have him at number 1. I've seen where he's not even top 10 on lists.
I know.
Like for me, I think all right, 6, 7-ish. Yeah, debatable there, but he's still a good player. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. It just doesn't do it for me right now.
Understood.
It's weird. I don't know why though.
Hey, it's fine.
Even the cat from USC, was it? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The safety out of USC is. Oh, let me get his name real quick, because I am drawing a blank on it.
No, it's all good. It's, with Moehrig.
Talano Hafango. I knew it was. I was gonna butcher it, but I like him a lot too, though, man. But he's another one where it's like, even though I like his game, I'm just kind of like, all right, are you Taylor Mays again? Like, is that who you are? I like your size. I like what you're able to do. You
he
even
was
had
so good.
He was a beast, but then you saw at the NFL level, what it came down to. The hips. Can you cover? Can you play in space like that? And the difference between him and Cam Chancellor, when he went to Cincinnati, they went, hey, I need you to do a little more matchup, a little more man-to-man. Whereas with Cam, it was like, hey, you can play this cover 3. You buzzing out here in the 1. That's a lot easier to do. And then from there, Cam gets his body right, and now he was able to do a lot more. But those are the things that are drastically different in some of those scenarios like that, man. But yeah, he's another one where I was kind of like, I've seen him rated in the top 5.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just like, I don't like him like that. Like, I don't know why. It's just like I watch his game. It's like good size, can move, he's rangy. He jumped over a play on a pick. I'm like, okay, athletic. But I don't know. It's just doesn't
these safety rankings are just madness
for me, man. Yeah. So it's like, it's funny. Like a guy that's number 1 on your list doesn't even make my list, and then a guy that some people are talking about should be a consistent top 5 isn't on either one of our lists in the top 5.
Yeah, exactly. So crazy, I got with Trayvon Mulrig though, dude. He's really good in coverage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he could be. See, I don't want to compare him to Minka completely, but like he's pretty damn good.
He's absolutely. Like you're not
Minka's all pro, but yeah, we'll see how he plays out given the right situation. Because who knows how Minka's career would have played out with the Dolphins.
Right, and I also think when we compare a guy to a person at the NFL level, we instantly think of all the NFL level players' accolades, and we're like, oh, he used to be that day 1. He doesn't have to be that day 1. We're saying that he's in the framework of that. But think about Minka day 1. Minka wasn't all pro Minka of the Pittsburgh Steelers in day 1. No, he was a guy that you thought could grow into that. And with excuse me, I keep going between Trayvon and Trevon. Yeah, but with Trevon, he's a guy that can do that. He's a guy that's in that same framework, that same mode, and we've seen enough of it on tape consistently where you're like, yo, that could be his pro comp right there. So I don't think that that's wrong. I just think that that's just how this thing kind of goes with it, man.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't know how to put this. I'm not too confident in my safeties list, to be honest with you, where I'm going to be like, no, you're wrong on this.
I feel
this dude's a given, like, dude, no doubt.
You know how when you get your phone and you're about to play your music, you like, bro, I want to have it regular, just hit shuffle. I feel like with our safety, you could put the top 15 safeties in here and just hit shuffle each day. Shuffle. We're going to all come with different lists.
I think a lot of it's going to come down to opportunity, team, and fit.
Absolutely. It's definitely the case at the NFL level, man. Fit is way more important than where you get drafted at. Now, the where is important for the money element of it. But once you get out of that, man, fit is key. You want to get to a team where you fit their scheme, where you fit what they're going to ask you to do, and it's going to put you in the best position to be successful.
For sure. So we go with safeties?
Yeah, and I'm going to read, I think it was one more list that just came in from Austin. So, Austin, you talk about another crazy, like how it can be all over the place, right? So he has Elijah Molden at 5. Mm-hmm. Then he has Paris Ford at 4. He has Holland at 3.
Yeah.
Then he goes Cisco at 2, Morig at 1.
Yeah.
So once again, now we hadn't had Holland on any of these other lists within the chat until that one right there. Now obviously you had him on your list, but once again, just the diversity with this, man. Whereas with these other positions we've talked about, it's never been like this. We've all had like, all right.
Yeah, your 3 are slated. Maybe you want to talk about the order of that 3, and then maybe you have 4 or 5 guys that are in that 4 or 5 position. They're in the race for that 4 or 5 position. But yeah, this one is just madness in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Man. But yeah, that was a good little ranking right there. I'm trying to see, did anyone else have any? All right, doesn't look like it. So, with that being said, man, time to transition to this next group of skill players.
I'm more excited for this one.
No, this is the thing for me, man. I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I wasn't, because I was like, at least safety, we could potentially be drafting one. And we could legitimately have any of these guys available too. It's just based on where they're going to be going.
We talked about Paris Ford a little bit.
Whereas with wide receiver, to me, I was like, I loved watching them. It was exciting.
You're bummed out.
But I was like, we're not touching any of these guys. We're not even going to have a chance to get any of these guys either. But it's just like, yeah, we're not messing with this. But that was the thing. That's the only reason why I was a little bit more down on that. Whereas, like, if it's a position that pertains, because, like, I would much rather watch wide receiver highlights than tight end highlights.
Sure.
But I was way more juiced about the tight ends because it was like, yo,
if we get this guy.
We could get this guy. Or we need this guy. We probably will. We're thinking about it, right? We talked about Tommy Trump. We talked about Pat Fryer. But with these guys, it's like, as hype as I was about Kadarius Toney, you think we're gonna take Kadarius Toney at pick 24? Because he definitely ain't gonna be there at pick 25. I mean, at pick 55. You know what I mean? You think if Rashad Bateman's sitting on the board, we're gonna grab him at 24? Like that. I'm just like, this is why I don't window shop. I don't want a window shop because I'm looking at something that I can't have. It's no fun. Yeah, I had this debate with my wife the other day.
Yeah, if we didn't bring back Juju though, it'd kind of be
that would be
mix,
different,
maybe,
right? But it's not. And I don't like the window shop. I only want to look where I'm buying. It's same. People they tell me, my wife and my mom, they was getting on me because they're like, sometimes like we just look at cars or we just look at houses. I'm like, why are you doing that? I mean, you don't like what you got? No, we do, but you just never know what you might see. I'm like, I'm only looking at mine. But then it was like that whole debate of, all right, that is how people operate. Whereas for me, I'm just like, I can't get one of these guys if I know we're not even in the market. Why am I looking over here?
Sure, that's a fair point.
But for conversation purposes, we're gonna go ahead and have these rankings. So before we get our list started, I'm gonna give the people a head start. Make sure you drop your top fives in the comment section, man. Drop your top 5 wide receivers, and from here we shall roll, man. So are you ready, baby?
I might have a hot take on this one.
Hot take it up then, man. Hot take it up.
All right, we doing 5 then?
Yes, and actually I'll start first because no, I started first last time, so you go first this time. Yeah, you go with your 5. Yeah, you go with your number 5 first.
Actually, I know I say I have hot take, but I'm also still going back and forth on some of these because these are some really good receivers.
You are the most cold hot take person out right now, man.
Back-to-back receiver classes have been unreal, in my opinion.
You talk about the depth in this class?
Yeah.
Oh my. I'm interested to see. 2 years from now, I want to see which class was better professionally. Like to start out, last year's class or this year's class is coming in because they both got dogs.
Yeah.
Like legit dogs, man.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. All right, so number 5, I got Kadarius Toney.
Mm-hmm.
The playmaking. I mean, I was thinking Elijah Moore, maybe throw him in the mix, but dude, I can't deny Toney's playmaking. It's so good. I mean, and I've even seen on some of these short routes that he's running, they're really good routes. They're nice cuts. They're making defenders look foolish. Yeah. And then he's got the speed. He could take the top off the defense. You could do reverses. I'm trying to think of a comp.
Am I just Tavon Austin? I thought.
Am I gonna say Percy Harvin? Is that too easy because of Florida?
No, so I like.
I like his cuts, man.
I like the Percy comp, but I thought more Tavon just because of the. I mean, he's built similar to Percy as well. But I just think his game, it reminds me more in terms of how he cuts. Reminds me more of like Tavon. I hate
Tavon Austin in the NFL though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Percy during the NFL. I mean, he flashed.
He was good though, man.
No.
He got hurt.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So we can't act as if Percy had this long, dominant career when realistically, when he was healthy, dominant, yes. But for how long he played, how often was he out there? That's the difference. Whereas with Tavon is out there. I don't think that Tavon's come close. No, he's the returner for the Cowboys the past 2 years.
Man.
Absolutely. Listen, me and my boys, every time we see a Tavon site, we're like, bro, Tavon's still in the league collecting. He's still doing his thing. It's crazy. And because I was always mad because I'm a Percy guy. Percy's from the hometown. Yeah. But people up north, they love Tavon. They were like, oh, he's better than Percy. We're like, get out of here. Not even close.
There's no way.
But you look at the longevity, and it's like, okay, well, this guy had the brighter flame, right? It was crazy, but it was short-lived because of the injuries, the migraines, the hips, the off-field or whatever was going on in Seattle. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Whereas with Tavon, it's like Tavon has never come close to this height that Percy's had, but he's been doing it longer.
He's still in the league.
He's still in the league, bro. He's still the return man right now, bro.
All right. For me, that's probably the best I could say. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Austin in the NFL for whatever reason. I just don't think he lived up to that, especially with the Rams. Like, he was supposed to be really good.
Well, because of how he looked coming out of West Virginia. But once again, when we talk about the comps, don't think comp of this has to be what his career was at the NFL level. Think about Tavon coming out of at WVU when he came out of there. We weren't thinking of him of, oh, man, this dude, he's just a returner at best. It's like, yo, this can be a legit game changer right here. This is a guy
and at that point, was that when Wes Walker was going off? So you're thinking, like, if we could get to do like this, he's even more athletic than Wes Walker.
Exactly.
This could, take things to the next level. But, yeah, that's what I like Toney, just the playmate. I mean, the missed tackles and just how he can make dudes miss. Bro. Like, I don't think it's a fluke. Like, almost, how we compared Etienne to Kamara, I almost thought that with Toney. But it feels it looks even better with Tony. Where like
Yeah.
he's almost like kind of aggressive with some of these break
No,
tackles.
seriously, man.
Like some of it is where he's just like, how it seems so flawless, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I think he's a little bit more punishing from that department.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
So,
His make you miss ability, man, it's crazy. Like the dude can ball. I'm gonna get on him though, cause he's a little bit on, a little bit further up. But I got you though.
Whoa.
We get to him. We get to him.
Okay.
But for me, I started out. I was torn, man. Obviously, I thought about, was it Elijah Moore? I thought about Terrence Marshall out of LSU and Rashard Bateman out of Minnesota. Like I was kind of torn between all of those guys at the 5th spot, but ultimately I went with Rashard because I feel like his size, number one, he's 6'2", 210. I love big guys that can move. Combat catch guy, high points the ball. His catch radius is filthy, bro.
The one-handed catches and shit.
Like I love that about him, and he's fast enough that he can pull away. Meaning, hey, he can take a 10-yard in, and if that safety is late or he has a bad angle, he can take it to the house. I love that about him. Now, obviously, this year it was a little wacky. Caught COVID. It was opt-out at first, came back. So all that kind of played into that thing. But to me, man, I think that this is a guy that he's going to come and he's wide receiver 1. He's fine because of the size. And that's why, I mean, all these guys we're talking about, I'm pretty sure we can go 7 deep if we wanted to in the first round. Legitimately could do that. That's, we're going to be splitting hairs. But I went with Rashard, and though to me why I put him at 5 instead of Terrence Marshall Jr. out of LSU. To me, I just thought with Terrence, he kind of reminds me of just like, Jamar Chase light, Justin Jefferson light. Still a beast, still going to be a first round, still going to be dominant, but he's the lighter version of them. And now, if I would have seen him in a different uniform and not with the LSU, I probably wouldn't have thought of him like that. But seeing him in that same uniform and knowing the 2 other guys that I watched back-to-back years is like, those guys are freaky. You're just a freak. They freaky. So that's why it's like, all right, I'm going to knock you off a little bit. Whereas if you would have switched Bateman and Marshall, right? If Rashard was playing with LSU and Terrence was playing with Minnesota, I would have Terrence on this list because I wouldn't have been able to see 2 other dogs that were on the field with you at the same time that had you. Now you weren't even robbing.
Too many mind games.
You were Alfred. You was coming off the back with the trade. Here you go, Master Bruce. Like that's what he was. So to me, I'm just like, I'm sure he's gonna evolve and be the main guy wherever he goes. He obviously showed a lot of that this year because Jamar Chase opted out. But still, it's just like, those guys, seeing them.
You just don't think he's gonna be as good as them,
right? Yeah. And that's the only thing.
Okay,
still gonna be a beast though.
No love for Diami Brown from USC, dude. What, you don't like him?
Do you talk about
I got him at number 4, dude. I don't know, man. He looks like an all-around receiver.
Maybe that's your hot take. That was the hot take, man.
I'm not even done with it, dude. I'm not even done with the hot takes, man.
I feel like the hot take to me. God, dog.
Bro, I don't know, man. I think he's a really good all-around receiver from what I'm looking. He is. The speed, the combat catching, too. Like, honestly, I was thinking between him and Bateman for either, well, it was those 3. It was Tony, Bateman, and then Brown for my last 2 spots at 4 and 5. And even actually Elijah Moore. So I was just going back and forth.
Because I see somewhere Elijah's like the 2.
I know. I liked him too, dude.
Top 2, top 3.
I'm not going to lie. He reminded me of AB a little bit. I don't know if it was the high white socks and the shoes, but he had some really nice routes, and then he could take it to the house. He would just beat defenders.
Yep.
I don't want to go completely there, but still, he was making me think that.
He could ball.
So those 2 dudes were definitely in the mix for my 4 and 5, but there was something about Brown's game that I just liked a little bit more. I don't know if he's maybe a little more dynamic than Bateman, if that's what it was. Because I think Bateman had the more explosive combat catches, in my opinion, for sure. But there was just something about Brown's game that I thought he'd be the better all-around receiver from a route running standpoint, and then also maybe take it to the house ability that he had. Yep. That was just my take, though.
I like that take. I'm with it, man.
Yeah,
I'm definitely with that.
We'll see, man. I got him in my top 4.
I like that. I like that.
He's got the production too.
He definitely does.
Now I don't know if you want to knock maybe the ACC, but
I mean, you can make a case.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I get it. Maybe if someone wants to knock that against him, but
kind of that's how I feel when we start talking USC or anybody in the Pac-12. I'm just like,
I get it.
But teach his own
for sure.
But for me, so you had At 5, you went Tony. At 4, you went
Brown.
Okay, at 4, you went Brown. So for me, at 4, I went with Kadarius Toney right here.
Sure.
I mean, everything you said. He's shifty as heck, cat quick, elite, make you miss ability. Like, people will say he's raw as a route runner, but raw in the sense of if you're putting him out there as a number 1 or a number 2 and asking him to run those routes, yes, he's going to be raw. Right.
Corners and
but
stuff.
In terms of his slot route running, man, you're going to be
He's making dudes look foolish.
Yeah, no, like, seriously, I saw, man, I turned the first play. I thought he was going to break my man's leg. And then I'm just going through and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, who's this? Oh, that's Nick Bo. Oh, that's this guy. Oh, he's supposed to be a first round. He's supposed to be a second round. I'm like, he does that. Like, guys just look lost versus him because of his start-stop ability. And it's funny to me, when you watch him on tape, he at times looks small, but you're like, no, this dude he got good size on him.
He does.
So you don't have to worry about, is he going to be able to last and take these shots? To me, I think that he is your starting slot. I think he's a situational number 2 early on. That's how I view him right now, just because, like I said, he still has to really get refined in terms of the route running, because once again, at the NFL level, everybody's going to be a great athlete. So even though he's making guys look crazy like that right now, at the NFL level, we catch up to that. The NFL level is more guys in pursuit. It's a lot just better talent around the defenders out there. So you have to improve on that, because, I mean, we've seen great athletes. Reggie Bush, prime example, one of the best collegiate athletes we saw, make everybody miss. But at the NFL level, it was a little bit different, because now, hey, you're not the only guy that runs 4.3 out here. We all fast. You're not the only guy with good hips. We all got good hips. So that's the part that's going to be interesting, just to see, can he do that? But as a slot, bro,
right off the bat,
as a slot off the bat, man, I think he cooks any of them. But I think that he can develop into a legit outside. Think about Tyreek Hill, right? When Tyreek first came in the league, you knew he was going to be a return man, but he was what? A slot receiver in a situation we're going to see you on a vertical. Now he's a legit, they keep him out there and he runs routes for them. He sets up stuff. He can do the exact same. Maybe not to that same extent, because obviously I don't think he's as fast as Tyreek, but he's still a guy that he can develop potentially into those type of things, into that type of role.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, and before we get to our number 3s, let me look at the list, because we've had the people in the chat, man. They coming through. Shout out to y'all. Hey, anytime we ask and y'all deliver, we appreciate y'all. So we make sure we go, tip our caps to y'all and make sure we read your names off here. So we have Tyler LaQuatra. Hope I didn't butcher your last name. All right, at 5, before we get to his 5, he has sleepers. Sleepers is Tutu Atwell, Nico Collins, and DeMonte, what is it? Coxie, right?
Who?
Is it DeMonte? I think he said.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I would say I don't know how to say his last name. But his top 5, he goes with Elijah Moore, Rashard Bateman, Jalen Waddle. Then he goes with Smith, and then Jamar Chase at 1. Okay. Then let's see who else is on our list. Joey went with Rondell Moore at 5, Waddle at 4, Bateman at 3. Then he goes Devontae Smith at 2 and Jamar Chase at 1. I like that. Austin says that Jalen Waddle reminds him of Pittsburgh's Antonio Brown.
Dude.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one to see it. I'm glad. I'm just glad. All right. Let's see what else we have. Austin goes Kadarius Toney at 5, Rashard Bateman at 4, Devontae Smith at 3, Jamar Chase at 2, Jalen Waddle at 1.
Okay.
Then let's see. Ian Rippey. At 5, he goes with Toney. At 4, he has Smith. At 3, Jamar Chase. At 2, Jalen Waddle. And at 1, Rashard Bateman.
What?
All right. Then let's see this one. I like the diversity a little bit.
I do too. Yeah.
I like this. Ultimate Elite 11 says Damani Brown at 5, Elijah Moore at 4. Then he goes Jamar Chase at 3, Devontae Smith at 2, and then Jalen Waddle at 1. So we're getting a little combination of Waddle, Smith, Chase consistently in those top 3. And then we got Big Kel 6. He went with Powell at 5, Toney at 4, Smith at 3, Waddle, and then Chase at 1. Trying to see if anyone else has anything crazy. Oh, here we go right here. This one from Brandy Lewis. She went with Rashard Bateman at 5.
Okay.
Jalen Waddle at 4.
Whoa.
Jamar Chase at 3. goes with Moore at 2, and then Smith at 1.
Elijah Moore too.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I like the diversity here,
He's
baby.
good. Yeah, I mean,
I like the diversity.
He could.
I
He
like
could
it.
be too.
I like it. Hey, man, I like that a lot. Y'all keep y'all list coming. We're going to get back to some more of these. All right, so we're on 3 now. So who is your number 3?
Wow. I like all 3 of these guys, dude. I really do. This one sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that I don't have a comp really for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put Jamar Chase at 3.
Okay.
And I feel bad about it because he legitimately might have the most upside out of all these dudes.
Easily, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I can't hold the season being out against him. I really can't.
I don't think
I don't want to do that.
But
I don't know.
That.
I just think I'm more high on Smith and Waddle. Maybe I feel like they're a little bit more known in terms of the comps that I'm thinking of in my mind. Whereas with Chase, dude, actually, this is why I think maybe he should be number 1 or has the most upside. You're seeing these combat catches like Mike Evans, but then he's got the speed. What was it, like a 4.3 or something speed? Just completely crazy. So I probably should have him number 1, but like I'm not thinking of an exact comp because he doesn't have. It doesn't seem like he's too tall. What's his height?
6'1".
Yeah,
it's 6'1", 200 pounds. Like
it's not like he's crazy tall or anything, but so he has like the combat catches like Des Bryant, but then he could just blow by you too.
Yeah, like he flies out there, bro.
So I'm almost talking myself into putting him in.
I mean, that's what it sounds like, but I'm gonna let you keep going though, man.
I'm gonna keep him at 3 though.
All right, go for it,
I'm
man.
high on these other dudes.
I'm with it, baby. I'm with it.
All right, who do you got at 3?
For me, at number 3, I went with Devontae Smith. I love his game. I just hate his size. He's 6'1", 175. Electric. He has great lateral movement. We know he can go to the house. My biggest concern, though, 6'1", 175. Can you hold up as my number 1 guy? We've seen AB do it. AB was a little bit thicker, though. And obviously, AB wasn't day 1 that either. AB had some years in the NFL before he became that. That's my only thing with Devontae. I still feel like he's going to be a beast. I just think that at 6'1", 175, even Steve Smith, you think about him as a number 1 smaller receiver, he still was thicker.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, you're going to be facing some long arm, big body corners out there. If you can consistently make these guys miss, it's not an issue. But I just know at this level, these guys, like a Jalen Ramsey, for example, that Jalen's not going to be scared of, Devontae because he has that lateral. Because he's like, I can move with you. And I'm long. And I'm fast just like you. That's the part. So now, can you combat catch to that level, right? Because we've seen AB. AB, man, even though he doesn't have the biggest catch radius, if the ball is in his vicinity, he's coming down with it. And those are the things that really separated AB compared to the other guys. It wasn't that AB was going to outrun you or was going to just cook you, which he could do. But the thing that we loved about AB was he's tiny, but he goes and gets that rock. Can he do that? I don't know. We know he could do it at Alabama, but can you do it at the NFL level? So that's the only thing in terms of why I have him at 3. I tell you, I love size. I want a guy that, for example, a Devontae Smith, even AB to a certain extent. Think about when the field gets condensed. It's a lot harder for his impact to be felt versus a Mike Evans, versus a Julio, versus a DeAndre Hopkins. It doesn't matter where you're at. They can stretch the field, but then in the red zone, I can just throw it up to you. I don't have to have the most accurate quarterback. Think, man, you can if Landry Jones is out here throwing to DeAndre Hopkins, you think he got to be accurate? Man, just throw that fade ball up there. He gonna make it work. But when it's a smaller receiver, you got to actually put it there. Now it's a lot more dependent on that quarterback. Now it's a lot more dependent on where you're getting drafted to. The fit. You know what I mean? Whereas a guy like Jamar, a guy like you said with Mike Evans, it doesn't matter who's back there. Mike Evans was Mike Evans if it was Jameis Winston throwing it or if it was Tom Brady throwing it. Because of that ability to just, he's going to just go up there and take it from you. And that was the only reason why I have him at 3, just the size element of it. But I love his game though, man. He's
technical,
nasty,
dude. Tactical with the routes.
Absolutely,
gets
man.
open.
He's a beast, bro.
That's why I like him too. Yeah. And a lot of people were comping the size element. I know you said AB. A lot of people were thinking Marvin Harrison.
Oh, I didn't even think about him. Yeah, he's another one.
But that's what I was thinking with it, where maybe that's why with Chase, why I had him at 3. But I actually, dude, I have to put him at 2. I think I have to.
You moving him back up?
I think I have to.
Okay.
Because you're right. The upside's like it's there for Chase. I don't. Not saying it's not there for Smith, but
like, do you think
Chase? Oh man, this is tough.
I guess my question to you is, best case for Devontae is what?
I think he could be like Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison, okay.
Marvin Harrison had Peyton Manning though too.
True.
Jamar Chase.
And even AB had been.
Jamar Chase, could he just be a beast whatever team he goes to?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter where he's at.
Devontae Smith, maybe just with how his game is, I think he would need, like if he was with Brady,
he's gonna cook.
Be crazy.
Yeah, if he was with Ben, he would cook. If he was with Russ, he would cook. But imagine if he's with Trubisky. If he's with Nick Foles. If he's I'm trying to think who's because they're all slotted to go in the top 5. Let's just see where he could potentially have went in the top 5. Okay, so Devontae, he could end up in Cincinnati. If he goes to Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, he's good. He's fine. Could go to Miami. How you feel about Tua? That's different. Could go to Detroit. How would you feel with where there's Jared Goff out there, whoever else? A little bit different. Think about Carolina as well. Sam Darnold, how confident are you there? Now, any of those guys in terms of Waddle or Smith could go to Denver. How do you feel about their quarterback situation? A lot of people aren't sold on that either. So that's my thing in terms of
what am I doing here, right? I just gotta put Chase at 2. I'm doing that. I'm putting him at 2. I'm putting him at 2. I'm putting Smith at 3. So I guess I jumped the gun here. I got Waddle at 1.
Okay. It's all good, bro.
I'm big on Waddle.
It's all good, man.
All right, good.
So for me, I have Waddle at 2. I think he reminds me of Tyreek Hill.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he looks like Tyreek Hill, exactly like him, bro. 5'10", 182, an absolute blazer. Like, it's not even close. I don't care what he timed, because obviously he didn't run because he's coming off the injury and stuff like that, but it wouldn't surprise it was 4.2. Like, low 4.2, because the man, you watch him, he plays that speed. We talked about that, right, in terms of guys that test fast and guys play fast. Waddle pulls away from every single body. Now, I know some people might have Smith in front of him based on Smith's year this season, but for me, man, I'm like, these dudes are here at the same time. If Smith was that much better than Waddle at any point in time when Waddle was healthy, it would have been seen beforehand. Waddle is the guy. Waddle can do just certain things with that rock. Is just different. And I love the fact he's short-handed. He can return punts. I mean, the dude is going to do his thing, but he's another guy similar, but less concerned, right? Remember when I was saying with Devontae, I was like, with the size, can he hold up out there? I'm not worried about Jalen because of how fast he is. It's going to be the Tyreek Hill effect. Even though Tyreek early on couldn't run routes, the fact that he could run just flat by you, I mean, with Tyreek, it was almost like, bro, we don't need to put you as the point man on line scrimmage. Have you off the ball or in the slot, just motion into wherever you're going to go so that way they can't jam you, and you're going to get a 5-yard running head start. You think Jalen Waddle with a 5-yard running head start, he's not going to cook these guys at this level? Whereas with Devontae's fast, but he's not Jalen Waddle fast. And that's, to me, the biggest difference in terms of why I have Waddle at 2, because it's like, bro, he has that gear that it doesn't matter what you're doing out there, man.
Bro, if he didn't get hurt, I mean, I think he'd be in the mix for the Heisman, actually.
No, I agree with you.
I mean, you look at these first 4 games, 134 yards, 142, crazy. 120, 161. Now, Smith's stats were good too, but in his first 2 games, he had 89 yards and 63 yards.
Yeah.
His third and fourth when he started putting up the 164, 167. But then when Waddle got hurt, I mean, that's when you're seeing these 200-yard games throughout the rest of the season. If Waddle's there, are those numbers going to him? I'm a big fan of his game, dude. Like you said, Tyreek Hill, but he looks more polished coming straight out.
He definitely does.
So that's what makes me excited. It's tough because now with Chase versus him, now those are my 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just want Tyreek Hill. I don't know if it's jealousy because the Chiefs have him, and I'm like, I would want this dude on the Steelers so bad. Yeah. That would just be the burner that could take the top off the defense. And I know what Tyreek Hill brings to the game in terms of like a mismatch standpoint. Maybe that's it. That I'm just like, dude, I just want Waddle at 1 because it looks like he's a more polished Tyreek Hill. Maybe he has some of those AB elements that you talked about. Chase is damn good too. So I'm not gonna make this huge argument saying, oh man, Waddle should be 1 over Chase. I think it's just a me thing.
So for me, man, I just stick consistent to what I like in my players. I like big speed.
Sure.
Jamar Chase is a big, fast guy who can catch anything, can make you miss. Think about this. Justin Jefferson, we loved him this year, right? I'm a big fan of Justin. I love, not only can he catch a ball out, but he has style, he has flavor, he dances. Like, we love this type of stuff. And as good as Justin is,
He was number 2 last
Justin
year.
was robbing to Jamar. Just think about that. Terrence Marshall. It's another guy gonna be a first round pick, right? At worst, early second round. Remember, that was Alfred. He was bringing out the trade to Justin Jefferson, who was Robin, and then Robin was talking to who? Jamar Chase's Batman. The year off doesn't scare me at all. The year off, I'm like, good. Now I know he's extra healthy and he's gonna be super fired up, ready to go. This dude can run every route. He can run by you. He can jump over you. He can combat catch you. I mean, he would have been the number 1 receiver in the draft a year ago. Like, that's who he is. It was just the whole rule of, well, he has to sit in college another year. The same thing with Trevor Lawrence. That same type of concept. I don't care what Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith did this past season. I can't unsee that dominance. And then to know that the guy that was under you, Justin Jefferson, was able to do this, and we all thought it was very clear that you were the better player. Yeah, I'm not even. Yeah, it's a no-brainer for me, man. Jamar is the guy.
Do I just bump him from 3 to 1 right now?
I mean, you've already moved him up. That's the fun.
No, I'll stick with Waddle.
Because for me, it's like with Waddle, the biggest thing about him is what? The speed. But once again, what I said was when the field is condensed, now you're going to have to get a lot more creative, and now it depends more on coordinator. Can he scheme you to get open? With Jamar, it doesn't matter where I'm at. I could be backed up. I could be midfield. I can be red zone. He's always going to be active. He's always going to be in here. And if he's with an average quarterback, he's all pro. If he's with a great quarterback, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, that's what it's going to be for him. If he's with a guy who knows how to put that ball where it needs to be, knows how to operate, has a coordinator, it's the good situation, that perfect fit, yeah, he's going to set the league on fire. If it's the terrible situation, which it probably will be when when you're going where you're going, it's like, all right,
he's still gonna do pretty good.
Yeah. He's still gonna ball. Like, that's who he is, and that's for me, like, what I just love about big receivers like that. Like, and that's why I said at the beginning of the list, for me to have Tony Smith and Waddle all back to back, I'm like, y'all have to be kicking butt because y'all are tiny. But a guy like Jamar, bro,
I get it, dude.
Yeah,
I get it.
It doesn't matter where I'm at. Like,
I might be looking back on this and saying, like, hey, man, I should have just bumped him up. Officially, I should have bumped him up, but I'm going to stick with Waddle. There's something about Waddle's game I just really like, man. I mean, I like Chase's. I mean, you heard me talk about it. I'm like, why do I have him at 3? I'm explaining this.
Up. Think about you set your list at 3, and then you moved him up in the middle of your debate and
what happened,
honorable mention 1.
What happened is that I got excited about the Marvin Harrison comparison with Devonta Smith. I'm like, yeah, like the size is kind of an issue, but I really like his route running. It seems like he's always able to get open. So Marvin Harrison worked in the NFL. But then I thought of more. He had Peyton Manning, and then you're right. I just completely flipped on the spot. I think it was the whole comparison thing. Like, who do you compare Chase to right now? Like, there's not a guy that really comes to mind.
I think he's the combo of.
Yeah, he's combo. Julio, that's what I mean. It's a combo.
Hopkins, but when I'm thinking of who I'm comboing him with,
I know exactly. That's
these are arguably. You could make the case that they've been either the most dominant or in the conversation for most dominant throughout their career, which is crazy. So if you're torn between those two guys, and like I said, when we talk about this decade, this era of receivers, AB, Julio, Hopkins, people are making it. Michael Thomas, he's starting to get in that conversation consistently as well. But those are the guys that we talk about. And I feel like Jamar, you could take some of all those guys and put them in there. But then remember, he can fly. He's a blazer.
Yeah. Should I just put him at 1?
Hey man, it's your list. That's the beauty of it. It's your list. But we got some more lists coming up real quick. Some other people had chimed in. So before we're gonna see, because it could be everybody's all over the place at 1. So let's find out.
Some people did have Waddle.
Yeah. Let's see. So I stopped there. Okay, here we go.
Did you watch any of the Chase stuff? Burrow was underthrowing him a lot.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like,
he can fly. He can fly, bro.
I was like, Burrow, man. Yeah. I mean, this was the best quarterback in college this year. He had over 60 touchdowns. Like, what were you doing?
Yeah, man. Like, get it out there a little bit. But it was funny. I was watching Terrence Marshall tape and seeing the cat they got there throwing to him. I was like, ooh, this is a little different. I thought my man was going to throw his little arm out. He threw that joint once. I thought his whole body went into the throw, and it barely made it. I'm like, God, this is rough. But let's see. Raymond Castillo. He has Rashard Bateman at 4, Jalen Waddle at 3, Frank Darby at 2.
What?
And he didn't even get my fifth person. He has Jamar Chase at 1, but he left off the number 5. All right. Yeah, Frank Darby at 2. All right. Okay. All right. Tate boys. He went with Marshall at 5, Waddle at 4, Bateman at 3, Smith at 2, and then Jamar Chase at 1. Yeah, Nick O'Connor has Chase at 1, Smith at 2, Waddle at 3, Bateman at 4, and Moore at 5. A lot of people get on the Moore thing though.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people are saying that you're tripping about not having Chase at 1. They saying he's easily the best receiver in the draft. Some people are saying that. It's
fair. It's fair.
Oh, I want to hear your thoughts on this. This is an interesting one. Joey 2 times. He goes Moore at 6, Smith at 5.
Whoa.
Bateman at 4, Waddle at 3, Jamar Chase at 2, Kyle Pitts at 1. Now, you know what I told you the other day when we talked about tight ends? I said,
yeah, I guess that's a question. Who would you take? Kyle Pitts
is he
Chase?
Really is he a tight end or is he a wide receiver? I say he reminds me of a wide receiver. He's just a tight end by classification.
Who would you take? Actually, that's a good question. Like, who
would
you take? You need a receiver, you need an athlete, whatever it is. You're like the 5th or 6th team. Who would you take?
That's a really good question. For me, I'm going to go Jamar just because he's used to banging with like legit SEC number 1 corners. Whereas with Kyle, even though he was cooking the guys, he still was getting very good matchups because they're, just you can't put the number 1 corner on Kyle Pitts when you got Kadarius Toney out there as well. So certain things like that, we're going to just make it where, he's going to be open. And along with the fact that certain things that you can do with the tight ends alignment, you can just protect them from certain matchups. Whereas with Jamar, man, you know what Jamar's lining up. Jamar the one that you just say, go over there by yourself and you're always going to win. He's kind of like the AB guy. It don't matter. AB, whatever side you want to go on this play, you go. We'll make everybody else right. Like, that's why for me, I would go Jamar.
Interesting.
I like Kyle's game though, man.
Yeah. I might say Jamar too, but then it's like, why don't you have him as your number 1 receiver?
You are funny with that.
I like Waddle. I don't know, dude. I just really think he's gonna be awesome in the NFL.
I think he is too.
I think he could have. Like, if he would have stayed healthy, he would have won the Heisman.
He would have. He was the better. Or at least he was better than Devontae Smith. We know this.
That's why I like him. That's why I like him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just maybe do I want to be hot take guy? I don't know. I like Waddle though.
Hey man, I'm with it, bro. Like I said, I would love Waddle if I didn't have Jamar. If Jamar was 5'10", if Jamar was 5'9", yeah, we go that way. Give me Waddle. But Jamar is not. He's he's got size.
I get it, dude. I get it.
I need
this isn't gonna be something I'm pounding my fist about because I really like Chase. You heard me talk about him.
No.
Something about Waddle's game.
Like
I'm just like I would really want Waddle on my NFL team, especially in today's NFL. You're right though, dude. You're right.
I mean, like, legit, think about that, man. Like, it's certain people where it's just like, no matter what, you throw it up to him, man. He's getting at home, man. It's a bucket right here, bro.
Yeah, definitely. The Pitts Chase one. I'll just say Pitts just for the mismatch stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be mismatch nightmare.
That's what I mean. Like, that could be crazy. Like, if you already have a good receiver or two, and then you bring Pitts in, that could be crazy.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
I'll just say that for the mismatch reason.
Yeah.
But
because my thing, I just look at it like if we don't have any pieces around, and I need a bona fide number 1. I need a guy. Jamar's my guy. Like, I just know, like, I don't have to scheme it. It is not going to matter. Whereas with Cal, I'm still going to have to talk to my offensive coordinator and figure out how do we want to utilize this guy? Do we play him outside as a true number 1? Do you play him as a number 2? Do you play him predominantly as a tight end? Do you want to have him on ball tight end, or do you want to have him as your motion guy? Like that. Now I got to make sure my coordinator is capable of that. And as we've seen, you never know what you get with some of these coordinators. You know what I mean? Some of them are really good. Some of them are interesting or different. We'll leave it at that. Yes. To say the least.
Is that all we got at receiver then?
That is, man. That looks like, yeah, that is it, man. That was fun though. I like that. And shout out to, let me make sure I say this right, Lumbers Jack 94. He had just put in the chat that Marcus Gilbert retired, man. Yeah, former teammate, man. I had to check, just make sure we fact check, make sure it was good. But yeah, man, Marcus Gilbert did just announce his retirement from the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think he's going to retire as a Cardinal.
Another Steeler. That's another one.
Yeah, he was out there the past 2 years. I forgot because he tore his ACL the first year, and then he opted out this year because of COVID. But yeah, man, it's good to see though that he's able to walk away on his own terms. For me, man, Gil was always a good dude. I liked how he developed though, because I definitely remember
a 2nd-round pick. Yeah, he didn't come on immediately.
No, because I remember when I first got here, man, we were like, it's a little suspect. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't think he's gonna be able to grow and be that player. He was a little bit heavy too during that time frame, but man, he did such a great job of getting his body right first off, and then shout out to Munchak. Like, he was one of the first guys I actually got to see Munchak day in and day out working with him and developing him. Like, I remember from OTAs where it was like, oh, we laughed at Gil over here, till by the time the season hit, you got about midway through that thing after Munch really had grinded with him. We were like, yo, Gil is developed. Gil is like legit now. And then we obviously saw him get paid the way he got paid. And we would laugh and joke with him and say, bro, most of the time, like before he got paid, we were like, bro, you're stealing. Like, if they pay you that, like, this is just robbery. Then it got to the point where we're like, yo, you're underpaid. Like, you're playing to that level. I mean, it was a time where people would make the case that he was the best right tackle in the game for a little while. Like, he was in that conversation because of how consistent he was, and it was truly a testament to his work ethic and Munchak's stamp on him, man. So definitely tip our cap to him, man, on an awesome career. And, hopefully, he transitions to wherever he wants to transition to, and it's smooth for him, man. But that's pretty dope, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, good for him. 2nd-round pick, and you just kind of hit the nail on the head with just how his career played out. Wasn't really living up to the hype initially, but then,
shout out
became
Munch,
a part
man.
of one of the best offensive lines in the league for about a good 2 or 3 year stretch.
Easily, man. Yes, indeed. Like I said, man, he was a big person in that. Hub was a big person in terms of Chris Hubbard. Obviously, we saw him get paid to go to Cleveland, and Big Al Villanueva, man. Those 3 dudes were like stamps of that whole Munchak
development.
You take a guy from being like,
because obviously we had Pouncing to cash,
right?
First
but they
picks.
were already good, and like even with BJ Finney, BJ was never like bad. It was just like, all right, you're good but limited. With Gil, it was times we're like, bro, you look bad. It was what I was like, bro, this is bad. Even Fowler, for example, Fowler had some times where we're just like, yo, he just looked bad. But then you could just see Munchak continuing to work with them guys, and those guys actually buying into it, because it's not always just the coach pouring in. You have to, as a player, be open to that and actually want to work and want to develop. And with all those guys we just named right there, they all bought into it as well. And you were able to see just the growth that they took in such a short span of time. And all of those guys got paid as well after that. So, rightfully so. So that's why, man, shout out to Munch. But once again, shout out to Gil.
Yeah, we might
man.
need Munchak back, dude. A lot of people have said that in the past in some of these comments. What happened there?
What do you mean?
Munchak.
He went out to Denver because his family was out there.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
it
wasn't
was a money thing.
No, because everybody kept trying to make it about money. Everybody was trying to make it, oh, well, if you stay here, you could be the next in line to be the head coach. And 2 things. First off, it's like, Munch, you're not going to stay here for the next, because at the time, that was 3 years ago?
He's probably older than Tomlin.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So it was like, what, you going to sit here for 10 years at the time and wait for that? Like, nah. And then for him, he was just kind of like, I don't care about the money. He wanted to be with his granddaughter, because I want to say it's his daughter that's out there as well. So that was another big part of it. So it was like, yeah, I mean, I totally understood it. And that's why you see it as a lateral move, but it's like, it made sense that if he was going to make a lateral move, it was because of the family element.
That's a shame.
So good luck if he comes back.
Yeah, it's probably not happening.
I don't really see it happening, man.
But just the way everyone has talked about him, especially you, and then we saw what the offensive line was like.
No, like Munch, he's legit like that, man. Like, it was crazy because you would watch him daily and just how he is so detailed. Right? He reminds me of Coach Tomlin just for offensive linemen, whereas Coach Tomlin is more head coach / focusing on defense as a whole. Munch, man, how he would detail these guys. You would watch them doing their individual periods, the first 10, 15 minutes of practice. And remember, I was joking, I said they're the cannibals, right? Because of how crazy they go at each other, how hard they're working over there. But it starts with Munch. Munch is the guy who creates that atmosphere, who creates that environment of, yeah, we're going to try to kill each other, but we also going to make sure we love each other. But at the same time, we're going to be crazy skilled. Like, we're going to have this crazy skill, this crazy closeness. and it reflected. And that's why even if it was a practice squad guy, you could see him and Munch would be over there talking to the practice squad guy the same way he's talking to Pouncey. You're like, okay, it's like this is why that guy's gonna develop like that. Because he actually is putting in that effort. He's seeing him, and this guy's buying into it. He's understanding footwork. So with Al, I mean, dude, how can it save his life to stop a bull rush? And what did Munch teach him? Munch said, bro, you don't have to stop the bull. This is how you do it. Instead of trying to absorb the blow, when that guy's going to long run, when that guy's going to shoot his hands, trap his hands. You know how many times I've seen Al do this to a guy who's going to long arm or bull rush when they fall flat on their face? And it gets to the point where you don't even want to go for the bull because he was so good at just right here. That's a Munch thing. I would watch Munch work with him. And shout out to Tunch Ilkin as well, man. Watch Tunch work with him as well in terms of just shoot your hands. Just doing this right here, smacking the hand down. It's off tempo. It's something as a rusher you hate because it's like, man, this goes against my rules. My rule is to shoot hands to get to you. And you're smacking my thing down. Now it makes me not want to shoot my hands. So now I can't even rush the same way because I'm thinking about this. Yeah. That's all created that way. But that's a Munch thing right there, man. So yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Gilbert then.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So as a whole, man, tip our cap to him, man, on an awesome career. And shout out to everybody that was rocking with us today, man. We definitely appreciate y'all. Once again, quick reminder, this Thursday, round 1, you do not want to miss it. Right here, we will be having our live watch party reacting to all of the first round draft picks as they're happening, baby. So have your big TV on the draft and then have your computer or your side TV, because I know some of y'all rich out here. Don't think I don't know that. But yeah, you know, y'all can have us on the other thing. And obviously, we're giving y'all our live breakdowns and reactions to every pick, especially the 24th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers pick, if it does remain at 24. So with that being said, shout out to y'all. And until next time, Deke.
Peace.